just calling to say I...
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody here. Welcome to the ACC Strategist 2.4 hour race here over at the Nordschleife. Now, this is my first time ever commentating on a Nordschleife race, so safe to say that I am beyond excited here. We're going to do a pretty simple format for you lads today. Starting us off with 30 minutes of qualifying here. And after that, we are getting into a big race here. But the rules are actually surprisingly simple here, compared to how they normally are. There is no mandatory pit stop. You are allowed to take as many as you want, of course. This is also a solo and team event, so therefore, it's free to do whatever, really. Now, obviously, we are currently watching a qualifying session. And in this game, it works a little bit different than, for example, the regular Assetto Corsa, because what you can do here is, rather than driving the entire way around to set your first lap, you can see towards the end of what would normally be the GP track, you could just follow GT track line, and that would allow you to immediately start your lap rather than having to drive through the entirety of the Nordschleife here. So that will help as well, should also allow for a couple more laps coming in here. And it's safe to say that I am beyond excited for this one. Currently aboard with Thomas Knoppek. He is one of the solo drivers that we have out here tonight. We have a couple teams here. If I could just count them up real quick, it's 10 or 11, I believe. Two teams for Formula Racing League, as always. Then we've got Wall Racing Team, Team Full Send, Taylor Motorsports, Gents at Work, Buckup Racing, MFL, Squadra Course, Tulip Racing Squad, FMP Italia, Ignition Racing Group, and Comic Racing Team. Now, obviously, everybody will get loads of screen time here, because we've currently got 28 drivers in the server. Which means that there will be plenty of time to cover everything here, because this is quite a long track as well, so it'll be interesting to see how things go. Couple drivers already starting their faster laps here. We're going to get people out to the Nordschleife section of the track pretty soon. In fact, Jamie Edwards seems to be the first to arrive here. Makes me wonder if he's actually cut across, because I'm pretty sure that I saw Thomas Knoppek go out first. But I could be mistaken though, so maybe this is already on. Maybe he's just using this time as a little bit of track exploration. Keep in mind that this track is very long. Now, it is obviously one of the most legendary tracks in the world, arguably the most legendary track in the world, and also one that's haunted by many here, of course. Now, this track is very, very difficult because it's featuring everything. It's got long straights, tight corners, elevation basically everywhere, and also the track is pretty tight there, so a small mistake sends you off into the barrier and ruin your race completely. And the most frustrating thing is perhaps that if you somehow manage to crash on the, well, let's say halfway point of the track, you're gonna have to get all the way back there. Now, it's interesting to see how far ahead he is. Makes me think this is actually not on a fast lap. Here is Thomas Knoppek though, trying it. Forming up the tires a little bit here. He could once again try and go for another slow lap. It's up to him, of course, but those tires will warm up throughout the lap anyway. So it's all about choosing your strategy here. We do have another track, a driver on the Nordschleife track now. That is Emanuele Nossan, representing MFL Squadra course in the 308 Ferrari 296 here. Making his way through the uphill. Now, corner names will always be something interesting to me as well. Hey, Alex, how's it going? Or Aces, I should say, probably. How's it going, mate? Hope you're doing great. Side right-hander coming up here. Seems to handle it with no problem, making his way to, I don't know, force now. Look at how quick he's going here. Seems to be on pace here. All the drivers now making their way onto the legendary track for the first time during qualifying here. Keep in mind that 25 minutes left of qualifying seems like a long time, but that's only good for about 3 or 4 laps if you're lucky. That's also because this track obviously is so long, over 20 kilometers. Good yourself, but I'm doing great. Beyond excited to be on the mic again for Formula Racing League. And then also very fun to actually see this track out there for the first time. Because I actually didn't have the DLC till today. I had to buy it to stream the match here. And obviously it wouldn't be a Formula Racing League stream without some kind of prize here. And this time the prize is a nice little key to ACC Strategist here. What you could use to boost your racing career just a little bit longer, a little bit easier. You're never gonna have to worry about strategy ever again. It's all taking care of itself for you. The only thing you need to focus on is following that as well as driving it. Now that BMW is really close. I think it's gonna have to make a pass at some point. Milan Lehmann goes out of the way, sees the BMW go past him, but was definitely not the cleanest from Milan at the moment here. Here's Derek Brow. Opted for the Lexus this time around. It's a beautiful looking car, that is. Nice little Swiss flag. Nice little touch as well. All these liveries you're going to see, or at least most of them. And ooh, there goes Derek Brow. That just shows how unforgiving this track is. Is he going to reset into the pits? I think he has to, right? There's Marco Keddy then. Started this lap a little bit later to ensure that he has some space to focus on his entire, on his own lap, of course. And the Formula Racing League driver is also the one that gave me the opportunity to do this event. So thank you very much, Marco. Let's get that out there as well. So obviously, everybody from FRL has been really nice to me. And, well, I'm going to be here stuck for a long while anyways. Jordan May, we're currently watching. He's doing his thing in his 296 as well. Some drivers already halfway through their first lap. Actually, I've got a notification, so I just have to double check if that is in the Formula Racing League Discord, because it seems to be. Right, no, it was just a notification that we are live, so nothing to worry about. Just double checking. Want to make sure that nothing goes wrong, right? Maybe there was something to say about stream, and if there is anything that is deemed to be incorrect here, perhaps the overlay or my microphone isn't working the way it's supposed to, let me know, please, so I could try and fix it. A couple drivers already resetting here. Now, the good thing is that I don't have to stress as much. Trying to reset myself. Here's Nick Parks. He's getting out there. He's already making his way through the later stages here. Making his way through this nice and tight little track here. Coming up to the right-hander here. This is obviously a corner where you can't really afford to go too wide, and he doesn't. The lap's looking clean so far. But also just know that the lap obviously isn't just over until you actually reach the finish line here. tiny bit wider than anticipated, but managed to recover swiftly, so it's not going to be a lot of extra time here. And there it is, the infamous YouTube corner. I think you all have seen it. I think you all know it. We'll see from the YouTube Tourist and Farten compilations where so many drivers end up going off. And we'll see if that happens later on today as well. Let's hope things are clean for now. Here's Damien van der Wal. Driving for Wal Racing Team. Together with Peter van Lieshout, who is not in the car just yet. It'll be some time, of course, until they're going to have to swap her. That's 2.4 hours of racing total, so that would mean that every driver would do 1.2 hours of racing, which is 72 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be. Just double checking for myself as well, right? My math isn't the greatest here. Now, once the first lap times are coming in, we'll have an accurate estimation of how things are going and what times drivers should be aiming for. And here's Maltipoli. He is also one of the drivers in a team tonight. He's racing for Lockup Racing, a French team, if I'm not mistaken. Now, to give you an idea as well, obviously in the 24 hours of the Nürburgring track, which is basically what this is, if I'm not mistaken. It's safe to say that, well, even the best of drivers seem to struggle sometimes, right? And I can't just find actually what the lap record is. I had it saved somewhere, but turns out I haven't done my homework at all here. A little bit of fortune. Now let's catch up with the other drivers. Okay, you know, on that long straight. Now going all the way up again. You don't really notice this elevation too much here, but it's most definitely there. There he goes, going up. Getting ready to go down as well. Now a fast track coming on there, so you need to try and maintain as much pace as you can through here. You're gonna have to brake a little bit, otherwise you're not making the corner. Now you have to brake a little bit more to the right hander here and then to the left, and you're once again at the start finish line. So Damien van der Wal will be one of the first drivers to get a official lap in, I suppose. Best time currently is a 8:13, and this was a 8:25 from Van der Wal. So it seems like a big difference, right? But keep in mind, the track is very, very long, so that is supposed to happen here. Right? Track's difficult to prepare for, you have to admit it as well. Here's Chris Jones. Paul with a interesting livery here. Has opted for the Honda. Not a car you get to see very often here, but one thing is sure, that livery will for sure stand out. It's very bright. Corner's looking solid. Now making his way through here. Camera work also looking nicely here, so they've definitely done a good job with the update here. This was obviously one of the most anticipated updates as well. And Chris Jones goes third fastest, not bad at all. Gonna have to look at the deltas later on here. Here's Emanuele Nossan. Once again seems to be crossing the finish line. Yep, indeed, that is correct here. See, that doesn't count as a fastest lap. That would be cheating. Now Marco Keddy then. It's hard to give an estimate to the lap deltas here, but you can see that all of the drivers currently standing in the top 6 are improving their lap. Ranging from 0.2 seconds to 1.5 seconds already here. And they're only just about underway, so we're going to have to keep our eyes out on that one. I see one driver approaching. That is driver number 28. That is Maxime Cochera. One of these solo drivers. Taking his way through the couple last corners here. And we'll see what his time ends up being here. Let's hope we didn't invalidate. I obviously didn't see it before. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 8:26.4. So the times are really close here. It's currently Nossan still leading by a big margin. Here he comes to a stop on the track as well, just resetting. So many drivers currently in the GP part of the track here. So some of them out on track already, some not so much here. Here's Thomas Knoppek then. Making his way to the left-hander off the YouTube corner. Now onto the left-hander coming up, but you have to be careful because this obviously is a very fast part of the track. Seems to handle it quite nicely though. The physics, that was also a big question mark here. Oof, Thomas Knoppen goes a little bit wide. He's on the limit. Jumping across the curb. He's at least trying to do one thing. That's improving. You can tell by how much he's pushing himself. We're going to have to see where he ends up finishing. Because it might just be one of the fastest laps we'll see out here tonight. He seems confident in his car. You can tell by the way he's approaching every single corner. He's just sending it. As long as he can send it. Making his way. Sure, one of the carousels there. There's 2 in total, of course. And now just making his way nicely to the last couple corners until that long straight here. And here's Marco Keddy then crossing the line. Set his first lap, and it's second fastest for Marco Keddy here, the Swiss driver. Putting himself up there with the best. Now, he is obviously doing a shared event as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he now decides to come in and let take over. Or is he going to be doing qualifying alone? Well, I guess we're about to find out. Currently second it is, though. An impressive lap coming out of him so far. And, well, still a lot of time to improve as well. There's roughly 15 minutes left during qualifying. Here's Jake de Jong. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. My names aren't always the greatest. I'm aware of that. Making his way to the last final corners now as well. Now just a big drag race to the finish line. Fairly good for 24 fastest. And actually pushes himself up to P5. So it's nicely done by Jake de Jong. Very well done by him. Here is Manuela Nossan. Currently roughly half a second ahead of his already best time. But he has to be careful though, because Marco Keddy is caught up a second compared to his best so far. Now obviously he is not very far into the lap yet, so a lot of things could still go very wrong or very right for him. I guess time will tell. Eric Browden, currently the furthest out there. Still very busy on track. I've seen that the number 245 has come to a stop here. That is Paulie, so he's made a mistake and is now back to the start-finish line, of course. Not great to see. Which means he's going to have to do everything again. Marco Keddy then making his way now onto the Nordschleife. Try and improve on his times later on. 14 minutes left here, so only 2 laps that he's got. But he will be happy with the current result. That's one thing that I do know for sure. Number 433, that is once again Damien van der Wal. Numbers don't change throughout the race. That was just a little bit of me being silly, of course. He's looking rapid out there as well, but this is one of the faster sectors of the track here. But the thing is, the carousel's coming up. You're going to have to nail that. Actually, it's a little bit confusing for me at times as well, because the track obviously has been updated, and the update is in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but not in the one that I am racing in, Assetto Corsa, the regular game. So let's see how the 296 handles that carousel coming up. That's obviously the big carousel. And you've got the second one coming up as well. If you fall out, your line's going to be taking a big hit here, but Damien seems to handle it nicely. As Alexis Kemp is about to try and do the exact same thing here. Through the carousel he goes. A little bit slower than his current delta. However, I don't think that's accurate, because actually he hasn't set an invalid lap, of course. There's Nick Parks then. Also making his way out. The lap times aren't really up to date, I believe. And I think that's got to do with Assetto Corsa Competizione race control. Not knowing the difference between a finished lap and a newly started lap here. So I think that's why it might be wrong on some ends. Actually, hasn't been an update to it since, so I'm going to have to pay attention to it. This is Manuel Nossan. 1.3 seconds quicker. However, Keddy is also gaining now 2 seconds compared to his best lap already. That's pretty significant out there. Milan Lehmann struggled in the beginning of the session, is looking to improve now. We'll see where he ends up going here. I see that Derek Browse is about to make his way onto the finish line here. We're going to follow him with the helicam to see what his first time will be over at the Nordschleife. P19 shoots up to P11, the slowest time out there so far, with a 9:07. Which just shows how difficult this track is sometimes. I want to stay aboard here with Manuel Nossan for a little bit here. I don't think his times are completely accurate according to the race control. Because set is basically already done at 8:30 now, but obviously he's still underway, so there's no way that The delta currently is correct here, so it's a little bit of guesswork from my side now. Wim van der Wal getting closer to that Lexus. How are you going to make your way by, though? That's tricky. It's qualifying as well, so you don't want to be giving up on your laps here. Just warming up the tires in between. At some point, it's going to have to pause. And obviously, they are still on the GP part of the track, so either one could decide to, well, quit the lap later on and try again. Obviously, the GP circuit isn't that far to drive around. Not worried too much here. I believe that the Dutchman's giving up now. Just focusing on his own lap times. Nothing wrong with that, of course. Lehman also on the fast part of the track. We've got a couple drivers approaching. This being one of them. But also, Manuel Nelson up there. So, lots of faster drivers are getting closer to the finish. The deltas are looking promising for some of the drivers, but Marco Ketty's reset into the pit, so he's not finishing the lap. That has me slightly worried here. First, we've got the 136 car coming in. That is Alexis Kempf. Trying his best. Then we've got the number 12 approaching as well. You got to be careful of the drivers on their fast lap now. Alexis Kempf goes 11 fastest now. Not bad at all. Pushes Milan Lehmann down, but now he is coming in. Probably 4 seconds faster than his delta, but he loses a little bit towards the end here. It's going to be roughly a 3.5 second improvement, I suppose, here. Now, indeed, that is the improvement he's going for. That's not going to gain him a position initially. However, I have to keep in mind as well that some of the drivers here are going to be roughly around that pace. So 3 second improvement's not bad at all here. Emanuele Nossan to go even quicker. So 8.12, the first 8.12 of the session. Just because it wasn't hard enough for Marco Ketty to beat him anyways. He's now into the pits. Some drivers aren't actually coming out anymore, I believe here. And some of them actually aren't supposed to set a time at all if things stay this way. So we'll see how that ends up treating us in the end. Here's Maximo Cochero once again. Currently 0.2 seconds off his regular pace. Now that's nothing to worry about just yet. Plenty of track to make that up on. Just gonna have to keep pushing here. Currently good for 10 fastest, which is going to be midfield. A little bit better than midfield, to be fair. But with so many drivers not saying a qualifying lap, I wonder what's gonna happen then. Obviously, this track is known for its chaos as well during the longer stints, especially in the beginning. And here is Fabio Giuffrida in the FMP Italia car. A stunning looking livery, I've got to admit it here. But first we have to pay attention to the drivers about to cross the line. Here's Sun Angel. Or drivers going on, but because there's so many blips on the map, it's kind of hard to tell who is currently on the lap and who isn't. But here is Sun Angel at least here. Just going to keep an eye out on what he's going to do in his first ever lap around the Nordschleife here. What's it going to be? A third fastest lap. Now that is always a good sign. Immediately comes to a halt as well. So that was the best he could have done now. Now he could go out again, but he's actually technically allowed to start a lap still. Speaking about starting a lap, that is exactly what Marco Ketty has done. Took a little bit of time off into the pit lane to reset mentally. Get some hydration in as well, making his way onto the Nordschleife for what might be the last time here. Depending on how quick he does, also depending on how clean things end up being. We've got driver number 12. I believe he was approaching the finish line, but it could be a mistake. Quickly have to find the number. And there it is. Milan Lehmann then. Across the line. Has been pushed down in terms of time to the leader, but hasn't been pushed down in terms of positions. Now, 7 minutes to go. Deltas are all in the red at the front. It's only really here towards the 10th to roughly 15th position where is the improvement. And considering that Derek Brow is already up there now, already making up 7.5 seconds, and he's only made his way a quarter through. So if he manages to just keep up this pace, should be close to meeting himself with the other drivers in the midfield here. And that could still be a promising start, depending on how the race start will go. Of course, some drivers are eventually going to make mistakes here. But keeping clean on the Nordschleife is just a challenge on its own, right? The track's so complicated, it's so large, there's so many cars on such a narrow track. And every bump is deadly here, you have to keep that in mind as well. Doesn't play into your favor, so driving on the limit is okay, but going over punishes you hard here. On to David. Very quick in the Audi right now, at least that's what it looks like from an outsider's perspective. He hasn't set a lap time yet, so his delta isn't really coming true, of course. But he's keeping things tidy, making his way through the second carousel now. Kleines carousel. In German, of course. Now onto the longer straight he goes here, just that right-hander. As long as he doesn't go off track here, he should just be fine. And now it's just full throttle until the end. This is also why, for example, a GT2 car actually isn't too terrible on this track. The amount of time you're gaining here on this straight is significant. There's still so many drivers out there, so I have to see who's able to improve. Here's Alexander Shadaev. First time he's out on the track. Pronouncing his last name is going to be a nightmare for me. That doesn't really matter much, though. In the Porsche GT3 car, a little bit wide, touches a little bit of grass, but is able to stay on the track. The track limits also aren't that strict on the track. Obviously, you want to make sure that you can stay within the white lines. If possible, you don't want to be risking things. As now we see approaching here the number 16 car. I've lost track of where he actually is. And there he is. On to David now, coming onto the straight. There it is, a 13th fastest timer. So still roughly 25 seconds off. Actually, it's closer to 21 seconds only. As Sun Angel makes his way into the wall. Luckily, it wasn't that far out. But even then, it's painful to see. He's sitting into the pits, of course. That's what you're able to do, and that's what you should do. As soon as you realize you're not going to be improving anymore. Lots of drivers here just starting their final push laps now. Luckily, the track's kind of empty right now, so that might work into the favor here of the drivers that actually haven't set a lap. Because everybody should be faster now. That also allows for the gap to get a little bit closer later on. We're keeping an eye out on every single driver out there tonight. Actually, once again, this is scary stuff. Well, Nostan's looking to go even quicker now. Half a second quicker anyways. But it's mainly these two that I want to be watching. It's Nick Parks on the onside. And then we also have Damien van der Wal. Now their deltas currently stand roughly a second apart. But the gap between them in terms of improvement, well, they're both going to be improving 1 to 2 seconds here. So depending on how the rest of the lap goes, this could be a very, very close finish early on. So we have to see where that battle's going in the end there. I am just jumping on board of Maxime Oshera for a bit, as I see the car number 317 approaching the finish line as well. Lorenzo Gorgetto, or actually, is he? No, he's just out there. It's kind of difficult to see sometimes, with the minimap not being that big. That's right, so driver number 28 we're hopping aboard with again. Maxime now on the straight. Try and set a lap. What's it going to be? Well, no improvement as it looks like. Alexander Shadaev then. Making his way through. And yes, I am indeed Dutch, my friend. Actually, it's where I live. Not where I'm originally from, but I've adapted pretty well to living here, including the regional accents even. So yeah, I am indeed a Dutchman. I feel that the accent speaks for itself. Could not get a good lap, new to the track. Yeah, I saw you made a small mistake earlier. Kind of unfortunate to see. And also one player just pushing up your behind doesn't help during qualifying at all. Now this is obviously a very unforgiving track as well. So every small mistake you make is going to be punished here. But, oh well, it is what it is here and loads of time to make up. And if you're not that familiar with the track, don't worry. You've got just over 2 hours to try and improve on it later on. Now, I did see that you are one of the solo drivers, if I'm not mistaken. So you'll ensure that you can get as much driving time on the track as you want here. Some drivers just starting their final laps now. This is Patrick Aksiowski. Making straight through. Things are looking solid for now. 2 minutes on the clock then, so everybody has to get going if they want to get one more lap in now. Otherwise, they're going to be too late. Nick Parks then, just making his way through for now. Cars obviously seem very slow here, but he's driving 250 plus. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, on the inside of the car as well. We are aboard with Nick Parks here. This is obviously the start of the Touristenfahrten as well, because this is just a public highway in Germany, which you are allowed to drive on certain days. Pay, I believe, 35 euros. Make your way onto the track here. Keeps it nice and tidy through the last couple corners. But what is it going to be? Will he get ahead of Damien van der Wal? The time currently is 3.5 seconds off, which means that he is going to pass him. But Damien van der Wal could be catching up to that later on, of course. There still is one more lap for him. Marco Keddy then making his way across. BMW not as fast. He was on faster than the past, but... Oh no, you drive with a teammate? Did I not add you to the list? And am I stupid? Oh yeah, I do. Sorry, I just can't read. So, the embarrassing thing is, I have got a spreadsheet right in front of me with all the team names in the biggest letters I've ever seen. And somehow I still managed to, well, not see you. So that's on me. That's just how it goes sometimes. Marco Keddy making his fast laps count here, but obviously time's running out now. I did see that number 86 has come to a stop. What has happened to him then? It's hard to tell. Sam McNally also for the first time out there. Time's almost up. Osama just doing his thing out there. Camber 136 approaching now. Going to be good for a, well, 2.5 second improvement, which would push him over at least Koshera, but could even push through and beat Van der Wal's time. That's what he's aiming for, of course. The session has officially ended, but obviously everybody is allowed to finish it. We did skip across during practice to also ensure that, you know, we weren't sitting here for too long. At some point we're all going to have to head to bed anyways. Because I'm going to be here till roughly midnight. A little painful, of course, considering I have to wake up at 6 in the morning. But it's going to be all worth it here. So glad I got the opportunity into the first place here. Alexis Kempf, excuse me, for the first time. And he does end up beating even the Porsche of Tuamainen. He's not out there anymore, so he's going to ensure that he stays ahead for now. Next up is the car number 24. That is the Lexus of Dyer. It's nice and bright pink, so it for sure won't go unnoticed on the track. I guess we're through the last couple corners here. It's going to be just that left-hander, then the right-hander, and then one more left-hander until he makes his way through the end. Very close to the barrier there. Don't want to be touching it. Barriers are not your friend, especially not on this track. What's it going to be for Dyer? A impressive second fastest. That's going to push his chances significantly. Cow Jr. out there for the first time. His liver is looking very, very nice. I love that very much. Where will Kaya Jr. end up? In the same corner sequence as the driver that just passed Marco Keddy to get into second, but can the Brazilian replicate the success? Time will tell, I suppose. And what will it be then? Coming up soon, it's going to be a 10 fastest for Kaya Jr. So McNally out on the track there, the Tunisian driver. To that neat little left-hander he goes, but it actually tightens up a little bit there, so you have to be careful. Looking solid and on the limit here, using the maximum of the track. But the number 433 approaching now as well. Here it is, Damien van der Wal, and he could once again take it back. He's 5 seconds quicker, and that pushes him up to 8th place. Excuse me, not 8 seconds, of course. That's a pretty impressive lap, if you ask me. Time obviously will be running out soon, so most of the drivers will be able to finish here, but that's just how it is on the Nordschleife, of course. Number 245 coming up, that is Polly in the WRT McDonald's BMW M4. That's one of the default liveries in the game, of course. Coming to the last corners, what's it going to be then? Seems solid out there for now. Polly, what will the time be, however? Currently 3 seconds quicker. Could push him up to the top 5. And that's what he's aiming for. It's going to be a top 3 even. Impressive stuff coming out. Now a second contender coming up soon. Actually, it's just the driver resetting himself now. So he's out of contention. Bringing us back to Osama Knani now. Making his way through his first lap time. So hard to say where he will end up delta-wise. Marco Keddy is once again trying to improve by 2 seconds. Now that would push him up significantly. That could push him into top 2 again. Spot that he was in initially, but had been taken away from him earlier. Aaron isn't stable on the track. No, well, judging by the cars here, I know that the McLaren usually is a very rapid car. But yeah, it seems to struggle on this track here. Osama Knani, however, is looking to prove that that is not the reality. So making his way through now. What will it be? What will it be? A fastest here. Impressive lap coming out of the fastest McLaren on the server right now. As Thomas Knoppix is getting closer. I know him from Amigos Racing League. I know he was one of the quickest out there, but can he also do it in Formula Racing League? The answer is yes, and he puts it on pole position. That is a stunning lap coming out. We weren't able to see the deltas, but 1.5 seconds quicker. And an 8:10.7. That is a stunner of a lap. Now to give you an idea of what racing on the Nordschleife looks like. Marco Keddy then doing his thing as per usual. Just look at how close those barriers come to you if you're not careful. Seems solid for now. The right-hander coming up. You could go very wide if you don't approach it nicely. But he seems to manage it just about. He wants to improve. He's 3 seconds quicker than he normally is. That would push him up to 2nd place. But can he keep that up later? Well, I guess we're about to find out. They're making his way through the right when they're into YouTube corner. He goes. Looks like he had lost grip a little bit here. That will also mean that he's losing 1 or 2 tenths here. But then he seems to recover quite nicely. Good to see here. Getting closer. Right-hander coming up. Quick right-hander at that. As we see the other driver still out on the track. Manuel Nossan making his way now through Dottingerhöhe. And making his way up to the straight. Currently, he's half a second quicker. That won't put him in a new position. But it's important that he finishes up the lap here. Because that might just allow him to stay ahead of Marco Keddy. If it stays at the current pace, Nossan won't stand a chance. However, that could change here. It's all going to be up to Marco Keddy then. Making his way through the Kleines carousel. Cleanly, I wanted to say, but he gets so wide and into the barrier he goes. That will basically guarantee a 2nd spot now, as he is the only driver still running 4 tenths quicker than he was. Means he's not going to be able to improve his position, however, but now improving to 6 tenths in total. He will put it within a second of Thomas Knoppek, or actually just barely he won't. That will be an impressive P2 for Nossan. That was probably one of the most enjoyable qualifyings I've done ever. I love this track so much. I think it tells as well, right? It's the energy that I have right now. I'm just so excited to be here. And let's ensure that we have a great race coming up here. Alright, 2 minutes till we get going. Obviously, we are not doing a full lap of the Nordschleife to start. That would be impossible, of course. Now I have to quickly tab out to ensure that I can back to this screen. And now 30 drivers in total. Quite a few of them not setting a lap in. Just to show you that we are running the LFM BOP as well. This will also give you a nice overview of the teams here. Some cars obviously have been made slower and some of them have been faster. The Lambo actually didn't get a penalty or a faster nice little boost. No weight reduction, no weight added. Seems that the Ferrari is also been debuffed a little bit. The Honda made faster by removing weight, and same goes for the Bentley. This is just to make sure that our cars are running with a roughly equal balance of performance. For people unfamiliar with how that works, weight is added or removed based on how quick the cars are on a platform called Low Fuel Motorsport, one of the biggest platforms there is. If you haven't heard of them, well, make sure to check them out for both Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. And, well, they are also providing this BOP to every other server that you can just download and install to make cars a little bit more equal, making for some more close racing. Here's the session start then. Everybody's going to get underway soon. Lots of drivers who didn't actually qualify. Craig Hill, May Edwards, Dale, Borghetto, Paton. There's quite a few drivers to go here. Just a small little drive over through the start finish until we get underway with a 2 hour and 24 minute race. No driver swap required. No tire swap required, but you're going to have to. As well as no fuel breaks, but I'm pretty sure that even if you fully fill up the car, you're not going to make it. It will be interesting to see how this one pans out. Just approaching one driver starting from the pit. It's Maciejowski. Honestly, that might be the safe play. Also, yeah, I could see that he's quick, Lehman. I could see that. Alright, and here we go. Over through the start finish. It's time to put on the Helicam for the start here. The BMW is off so rapid already, putting it side by side to Nossanir. Lexus also cutting across, drive through for Knani. He was off a little bit too fast here. Knopax has to defend and he goes down the inside into first here. Taking it easy, sure, some positions will just be tossed around, but everybody's keeping it clean, which is arguably more important for now. We've got 2.5 hours roughly to make up that time, so don't be too worried about it here. Everybody's made it through safely. Don't think there's been a single incident. And I'd like to keep things that way here. Also, drivers gaining a few positions now, thanks to one driver being in the pit lane. Caio Jr. in 6th here, but it seems that the program's having a hard time keeping up with all the overtakes. Just making his way through the GP part of the circuit. And this is also where the biggest opportunities lie to overtake. So now, if you were to overtake, this would be the ideal place to do so. The track's a little bit wider here. It was a little bit, well, better design in my opinion when it comes to actually being the overtake. But that's also part of the magic of the Nordschleife, of course. Well, it's hard to overtake, but you've got so much time to do so. Here they are making their way through now. Over to the little chicane. All getting ready. Knopax still leading by a small margin here. Left-hander, right-hander. And here we go then. On to the Nordschleife for the first time of the race. And Thomas Knopax leading. Time to see what he can do then. He's going to be the first one making his way over now. Through Hatzenbach. Right-hander. Then immediately you're going to have a left-hander. And then another right-hander. A left-hander first and then the right-hander, of course, which is a little bit tighter. He seems to handle it quite well now. Getting ready to just get on the throttle here for the way up. Chris Jones currently stood in 6th here, despite what the HUD is actually telling you. And it actually seems that that is incorrect, because Thomas Knopack is leading the race, but according to my program, he's in 2nd place. Going all the way up then. Flugplatz it is, right-hander to go off. Handles it nicely. Making his way through Adenauer Forest as we speak. So far, it's been a clean race here. Alexander Zverev loses one position. The Ferrari 296 also keen on getting by. Porsche holding on strong for now. We're trying to drive away. Can prove to be difficult as Hose loses one position as well in the only Bentley on the track right now. Actually, a couple more has been lost here. Someone House has made a small mistake in the progress. And here is Marco Keddy then. Already seeing Nelson drive so far ahead of him. So can he keep up? Can he keep up? That's what he's going to be aiming for here. As they all make their way up now. Not an easy corner now. You have to get onto that right quite cleanly. Then immediately a left-hander coming up here. Overshooting that exit can be fatal. It seems like everybody's handling it quite nicely. Have to admit it here. And so far, no major incidents too. It surprises me every single time that in Formula Racing League, they are able to keep things clean. With such big grids as well and such tight racing. It's amazing really how good these standards are. Making their way in now. Hannu Tuomainen has to be careful. The Audi touches the grass a little bit here. And Kanani has fallen all the way back. Not the greatest of starts here. Car Jr. seeing the Walkenhorst BMW driving away. So keeping up. It's going to be quite difficult. Slow left-hander coming in before you can make your way back up again. Now onto the hill we go, and then you have a right-hander, and so far it looks like the set will roughly remain the same. Not a lot of overtaking we're seeing, but that was to be expected, of course. Alexander Zverev loses one position to Fernandez here, but that was already well known. Here is Osama Knani then in 22nd position, and that's one of the Audis. That is Rondo David then. Well, now you've got damage and you've still got such a long lap to go here. Drops down to be 25. Was bound to happen at some point. There was just always going to be that one driver that ended up making a mistake here. Side by side, it's Son Engel as well as Van der Wal. Trying to keep things nice and tidy. The Dutchman slightly ahead. However, Son Angel isn't backing out just yet here. Now they're side by side again, but obviously the inside line coming now for Angel. Is that going to be enough though? Well, they're still side by side all the way, but it looks like Son Angel's finally made his way past. Nicely done then. And Angel to move up at least one position. And trying to work up to that. They're making their way now closer to the upcoming carousel. The drivers just making it through relatively clean. I'm amazed really. Driver number 2 is into the pits here. What has happened? It's Brau. Please don't tell me he's giving up that early. That would be such a shame if that's the case. Only time will tell, I suppose. He's not driving out there for now here. Bill loses one. And here is Brogan Dyer then. Second place it is for him. David once again falling back, but obviously he's got damage, so that was to be expected. It's also Jurfida losing 2. Sees the McLaren as well as the BMW make their way through. Fields still very close together. Now this will be interesting here, making our way through the, well, more difficult parts of the North stuff, I'd like to argue. Because I don't know how it is for you lads, but every time I drive here, I crash somewhere in the middle, so this is still unknown territory to me. I try my best, but it's just such a difficult track as well. U-shape corner, cleanly by the first 3. The Ferrari absolutely on the limit there. Everybody's using that curb. But handling the curbs here is obviously part of the Nordschleife, so just hoping your car doesn't spin out there. There's a couple drivers who are losing a significant amount of position. That's Damien van der Wal, finds himself into the wall. Okay, that punish is just too good not to make here, but he's going to have to just wait until everybody drives past before finally making his way back in. Yellow flags were out, of course. They seem to handle it quite nicely. Brogan Dyer then. Passing the last couple corners here. Brogan Dyer is holding on for now. Representing Wild Things Racing, of course. As delivery and the name suggests. Thomas Knoppek seems to be just too fast out there right now. Jurfida once again loses another spot. Now here's Ronto David headed into the pits. As well, has he reset his way there? Yes, he has. So Actually, interestingly enough, he showed us the race leader for a while there, but that's obviously not the case. That's this Thomas Knoppek. Don't be confused when you see it. The in-game HUD will also update. Don't pay attention to that. It's not giving an accurate representation. So actually this driver then is in P13 rather than P14. Nico Fernandez, obviously the slipstream on that big straight is going to play quite a big factor here, which also means that Thomas Knoppek loses the position as soon as I swap over to him, basically. Thomas Knoppek won't be leading into the second lap here, but obviously nothing to stress about just yet here, as long as you're able to keep alongside here. Maxime Cochera loses another. Or perhaps not willing to take the risk here side by side. Makes a lot of sense, right? You can also see how bumpy the track actually is, though. It's always difficult. Here is Bjorn Dale. The Ferrari then going for a move. Making its way up here. The Lamborghini losing out. Nicely done in the battle for 21st. Still underway, of course. Now finally David's getting undertaken as some of the drivers already onto the GP part of the track again. Nico Fernandez into turn 1 and 2. Trying to hold on desperately to the Ferrari ahead of him. Maxime Cochera, the Frenchman's got a lot to do. Where will they end up in the end? Craig Hill making his for true. Prioritizing the exit and trying to push up to the Audi ahead of him. Papatont also has to defend. It's one of the Hungarians on the track. I believe he's actually sharing delivery with David as well. Could be mistaken, so they're definitely some form of teammates. If I've seen that correctly, girl. Matt House. P22. On the walls into the pits to repair. So is David, but he has been stuck there for quite a while. And that was to be expected, of course. And the battle for first is still going on, but these two are just getting ahead, and there's nothing that the rest can do, really. Cochera has lost the position now. Fernandez made his way past. Nicely done. The Frenchman can do nothing but wait for another opportunity to come around. Knoppek already on the Nordschleife one more time then. You see nicely just how close they are together for now. Thomas Knoppek desperately trying to hold on there. You can't really miss the pink Lexus here, but they're both on the limit. So much. Tiny bit of understeer into the corner there by Dyer, but he manages to recover nicely. Probably your worst nightmare here. Having understeer on a track like this with the wall getting so close to you. You can see really that there's just no space to go off, really. Nico Fernandez then in the battle with the Ferrari of Cochera. Sean trying to get away here, but it goes quite wide on the exit. Don't think he was outside of the track limits there. It's kind of hard to, because the only way you can get out of the track limits by hitting the wall there. The gap to leader improving once again. So it's really incredible how Knoppek and Dyer are just in a league of their own right now. Can't wait to see where that battle ends up going. Nico Fernandez then losing a tiny bit of time compared to the other Ferrari here. Kind of too far away to use that slipstream optimum. Still doing it quite nicely into the right hand. There they go. Then Nico Fernandez very late on the brakes. It wants to go down the inside. There's a tiny bit of a touche. It was a very bold move by Nico Fernandez, but it does not pay off for now. So he's going to have to try again later on. But things are getting close out here. The Lamborghini might get overtaken here by the Bentley of Matt House. At the moment, it doesn't seem like it, though. They were very close at some point, but now the Lamborghini is most definitely ahead. That's the issue on this track, of course. Very hard to go off. And no, that is Jake de Jong making a big mistake. Finds himself onto the grass. Is able to rejump, but has lost 3 positions. Both that is really, really tough. Craig Hill then. Close to the Hungarian driver ahead. Being Papatont. Hungarians, obviously, they usually say their last name first rather than the other way around. So I'm actually not sure if it's Baton Pap or Papaton, but for the stream it's going to be Papaton. Maybe somebody else could educate me. Another move then by Matt House, and this time he's pulled it off. Nicely done. By Madhouse moves up to P21. Positions now actually are accurate. And now suddenly we see a nice little battle here. For position number 1, 2, and 3. It is currently still Dyer ahead. Knoppek right behind. And Nossan has also found a connection on Marco Keddy. Just seeing, well, lads, where are you going? Can you wait for me, please? Not going to happen, though. These 3 might just have a battle for the eternity here. The lap times are so similar. The gaps are so small. And 3 different cars as well. It's nice to see. Knoppek has been in the Lamborghini as long as I've remembered. Don't really know much else about Dyer and Nossan. But I will be watching. We'll see how it goes. Now, actually, interestingly enough here, MFL Squadra Corsa is actually a team as well. So they will have to swap later on. Samuel Nossan as well as Alberto Persico together. Whereas Thomas Knoppek is solo. If I'm not mistaken, Dyer is solo as well in the Lexus. So it's a team versus solo duel. Making their way around through the twisty part of the track here. Well, just one of the fewer. The large carousel, of course, first. That looked a little bit rough on the side of Manuel Nossan. You can immediately see the gap increasing by a tiny margin. Obviously, it was also the Lexus and the Lamborghini that could just get on the exit way earlier there. You're kind of holding each other up through the carousel, but it's hard to overtake there, so making it count will be difficult here. Battle for P16 still going on, but it's also Knadi with the time penalty here, actually the drive-through, so that's going to cost him valuable seconds later on. He's not serving it as of yet. You could have had an opportunity to come in, but obviously you don't want to do that because then you're going to end up in traffic on a hard to overtake track. So the goal is now gain as much distance as you can to the slower driver out there. There's quite a few behind already by a bigger margin, and if you do so, you can stay ahead of them while serving your drive-through, meaning you won't have to fight to overtake those slower drivers on the grid here. Rich Jones loses 2. Big mistake. But the battle for P1, 2, and 3 keeps going on. Order hasn't changed as for now. The Ferrari is catching up slowly again. Make sure you keep it nice and tidy. They're doing it quite well so far. It goes to Fransgarden now. Actually, already true as we speak. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the corner names. I've got a cheat sheet, of course. Make things just a tiny bit nicer to watch as well. I'm trying my best. I've tried to learn them. I've done a couple laps on the Nordschleife before. And that also might just explain why there's so much time being lost here on the side of Chris Jones here. Look at the damage on his Honda. That is pretty significant here. As there one of the BMW goes off, rejoins, bumps his way across the track. He's glad that nobody really was in his path there. He's losing so much time. Yeah, how do you get past him now? You have to find your way through. Jones not too happy about it. De Jong's also trying to get past here, but they've both got damage. He's indicating to indicate what he's doing. There he actually goes off trying to let the American pass him. Yeah, he's struggling to get the car steered into the corners here, and it makes sense, right? Just look at the damage. Has taken a small hit somewhere. It's a nice little BMW freeway here. Ferrari's desperately trying to hold on here. Koscielny is currently the only driver to do so. As we make our way in here, Montepoli now in that slipstream. Hard to defend, of course. You're allowed to get to the other side once, but is there even a point? Well, I like to think that there actually isn't. Is he past him yet? No, not quite, but they are side by side for a long way. And I think Polly might have just about done it, but it's hard to say until we get there, and indeed, it will be Kempf to fall off here. So nicely done here by Montepoli to make his way through. The rest of the order doesn't change as such, but coming into what is going to be lap number 2 now. Actually, lap number 3, they're starting, of course. We will see that that order doesn't change much here. Dyer slowly getting away here. Thomas Knoppek not even realizing what's happening. Lexus seems to hold on for now quite nicely. And here is Madhouse then. Close up to Jafrida, but not able to do it just yet. He's got a little bit of slipstream So perhaps there's a chance here over on the large straight here. Obviously, start-finish straight here for many of the races over at the Nürburgring. Whether that be the full layout or just a GP version of the track, of course. They've got it all. Jones has come in to repair his car, and that was absolutely necessary. He was losing so much time in that one single lap here, which just shows how unforgiving the Nordschleife really is. Thomas Knoppek has once again found the connection over through Dyer here, making their way onto the Nordschleife. One of the pylons you saw there flying off the screen. Thomas Knoppek then immediately applying as much pressure as he can here. The Nordschleife obviously is a matter of just focusing up even more than you need on the other tracks, because the track's a little bit bumpy. It's not too wide. You've got your mirrors to worry about. You've got the track to worry about. Now eventually back markers start to become a problem too. So this battle, well, could be ended at any point due to some driver making a mistake. But as for now, they've been clean. All three of them have been doing so well to try and keep up with each other and just pushing each other through the limits as well. And so far, nobody's really come out on top yet. Thomas Knoppek is holding on nicely, making their way through the uphill now. Right-hander coming up. Try and maintain as much speed as you can through there until you've got to hit your heavy braking zone coming up rather soon. As for now, though, it's just flat out. Now, as soon as the corners come up here, the right-hander going to happen at some point. That's where you really need to get on the brakes nicely here. Make sure that you don't lock up in the car. And obviously, ABS is a thing in this game. And, well, you most definitely need that too, to ensure that you don't end up blocking your car. It's a real problem, of course. At House then getting closer. The McLaren made a small mistake through, however, not able to capitalize just yet. They are so close to each other now. Just to give you an idea of what it's looking like, you can just basically smell it at this point. Thomas Knoppek still trying to get the connection. I was looking for the helicam, and there it is. Now they're kind of falling apart. That's just how it is on the longer straights. So not a lot of slipstream to use here. But then as soon as you get to the corners, they're catching up again. Lawson obviously is the driver to try and hold on to that big group, to playing with the big boys here. And Marco Keddy's just driving in no man's land. Has been for a while as well now. Caio Jr. sees Kosheri approaching in his rear mirror, so he's going to try and hold on, but also pushing up Kempf in the meanwhile. The gap currently too big to try and make a move though. Keep our eyes out on the deltas, because at some point that could change. You never know. Somebody makes a mistake. Here's Jufrida then suddenly driving a little bit slower. Now we've got a nice little group of four here. Lamborghini trying to catch up as well. That's Dale. Norwegian driver doing exactly what he needs to. It's a nice little group of three for now. Might turn into four soon, depending on if that Ferrari ahead of the group here, that being the car of May, depending if he could try and keep up. Jordan May is just driving as far as he can. Oh, you've been touched off. That's a shame. Yeah, it was bound to happen here. Are you continuing or not? I don't... Yeah, I do actually see you out there on track. So, don't worry, you're still going. But now it's Hugh Kappen into the car. We'll update soon. So, we've done their first driver swap as well. First meters on the track for Hugh Kappen, making his way onto the Nordschleife now. If you don't mind, by the way, you're free to speak in English, but free to speak in Dutch. But I'm going to answer in English as well, to make sure that everybody understands. Of course, we are a international community after all. Shame that now you're kind of driving in no man's land. Makes it less entertaining, makes it less exciting, however. Also means you can focus up on those lap times here. It's a shame they're not handing out any points for the fastest lap, of course, but even then, well, you never know when it's going to be useful. Just playing catch up. Ah, my bad. What? No, it's all good. You're fine to speak in Dutch. I will just translate. That's no problem. I like to believe I'm fluent in both languages anyway. As I swap over, Nani's made his way past De Jong. It's always when that happens. Right, as soon as I swap away, we see the overtakes coming in. Immediately gap quite large as well, so I assume a big mistake's been made by Jakes de Jong. As the BMWs now making their way through the carousel together. New driver, let's see how he hangs up. New driver as in he's new to the game or to the track, or new driver as in, well, he's the new driver in the race. Because either way, it's going to be interesting. I haven't dared to touch Assetto Corsa Competizione in a long time. I just got here to commentate. To be honest, it's kind of embarrassing how little I actually play the game. I'm doing some Mazda MX-5s in the Assetto Corsa in my free time. But the cars just seem so fast and intimidating, and so are the tracks as well, so... Getting out there never is easy to me, but I've got my sim racing setup basically ready to go now. I've got a SimLab GT1 Evo ready to go. My trusty G29 saving up for pedals, but they won't arrive anytime soon. Pure Frida made its way back into the pits here. Both. Well, that will be interesting. But I believe in him. We'll see how things go. Keep in mind, in the end, it is just for fun. Although there is a quite nice prize on the line here. ACC Strategist key that you can use to make your races become just that little bit easier. That might just give you the edge over the opponents. And how it's now behind the Lamborghini. Making their way through here. There's one car facing the wrong way. That's Jordan May. He's gone off. Luckily, he doesn't need to wait too long here. He's able to keep going. But, well, it was bound to happen at some point, right? Spins will happen on this track. 2 hours remaining of the race here. Endurance racing at its finest. Another flag is out here. It's for Alexander Zadeyev. Also facing the wrong way. Has to stay in there for now. Is able to turn around. Alright. I'd like to see if I can also do commentary. It's very fun, trust me. Originally, I actually came from another game. I originally came from competitive Counter-Strike, which is actually the main thing that I do for money. Sim racing is just a side thing for me. I'm very passionate about racing. Often you can find me at TT Assen or Zandvoort. Sure, we're mapping as well, although that's probably a little bit of a lesser known circuit. But this is just a side thing for me, and I must say it's always one of the highlights of my week. You know, actually, if you don't mind, if you want to do this, send me a message as well on Discord if you want to, and we'll speak after. I might just have an opportunity for you, if you want to, of course. It's an unpaid offer, that's the harsh reality. But I'm actually commentating in a league where we need another commentator coming in. So if you'd like to gain some experience as a commentator, if you'd like to learn how things work, I'd be happily teaching you. So just send me a message. I assume you're in the FRL Discord, right? If you are, I'm gonna just give you out my Discord here. So my Discord is RickyDC. So that is spelled RICKYDC. And then we could talk about it later in private if you want. I'll actually type it in the chat. That's a little bit easier. You can see my message coming up now. I'm in the FRL Discord. You could just send me a message through there or send me a friend request. I won't answer your DM during the live streams, of course, but send me a message and I might have something for you, sir. Frida also into the pits. Still. It cost him quite a bit of time. Bjorn Dale, driver aboard with. The Bentley has taken over his position in the meanwhile. There's a little bit of back and forth here between the Norwegian and the Brit. It's good to see. And it's looking competitive out there. Always a blessing. I have some good entertaining races here. Dyer's still ahead though, but he's kind of creating a small gap for himself. The battle, however, far from played. When Nossan desperately trying to hang as well. So is Thomas Knoppek. Harness could try and play a factor later on into the race. Obviously not yet. I can see I've just received the DM on Discord. That's good to see. So, yeah. That's cool. Alright. No, it was actually unrelated. Oh well, that's what happens sometimes. It's actually funny, right? Maybe I can teach you how to commentate if you teach me how to race. I most definitely need that. And for the people watching as well. Make sure to let me know if you're interested in anything that I can help you with. Always happy to help. And I just saw the message. Drove severe damage, race over, and then DM. Yeah. No, I still got another DM. Unrelated. Oh, that's a shame. Well, that sometimes happen. On the plus side now, you can watch the stream for the rest of the evening. I'm going to be here for a while. In fact, I'm going to be here for 2 more hours, leaving me close to midnight. Going back in the car right now. Ooh, you are continuing then. That's good to see. Oh yeah, you're still driving. Car doesn't look too bad. I thought you were gonna quit the race, but that's not the case. No, I misunderstood. You said race over, but obviously you're not giving up until it actually is over, so that's good to see. Just canopping now a little bit closer, so they're a little bit faster in certain sectors, but then Lexus is driving away in others, so that's great to see. He's getting close out there. Bjorn Dale catching up once again with House. 26 drivers remaining, and there's a small mistake from Bjorn Dale. Keeps it out of the wall at least. But yeah, getting to that position now is going to be difficult here. That's immediately a 6-second gap created. As the BMWs are still fighting it out here. Is Paulie and Parks both in the BMW M4. Swapping now. See you later. Alright, good luck out there. I'll be watching you. It's not a threat. Let's just say, well, guarantee. It's good to see as well. I always want to shine as much light as I can on everybody, but it's kind of difficult if you're driving in the middle of nowhere. So we're trying our best here. This group of 3 has just been so entertaining to watch recently. Since the beginning of the race, they've been together. Either driver could come out on top here. I wonder if they're going to be on different strategy twos. Actually, I'm curious to see as well what the strategy is here. Is it just going to be 1 lap by 1 lap then? For some of the drivers, it very well could be. Not the fastest strategy, of course, but still plenty of fun. He's stubborn, he's staying out. He's enjoying it too much, mates. Don't worry about it. That sometimes happens. I don't blame you at all. Always lots of fun. And, well, honestly, driving the Nordschleife is probably the most fun you can have in a Assetto Corsa Competizione. To me, at least. Such a challenging and interesting track. So, yeah, he's trying to stay out. I respect that very much. There's Craig Hill then. Kyle Jr. is ahead. Doing their own thing for now. Maximo Cochera close up to Kempf as well. He's really able to overtake Giuseppe. But as we come into the left-hander, we've got a very, very tight corner coming up pretty soon. And there is another opportunity to outbrake then. Tiny bit downhill here, just full throttle all the way through until you actually get there. And Maxime could give it a go here around the outside or down the inside if you wanted to. At the moment it's not going to happen though. Still full straight all the way through here. Now getting closer to the carousel, of course, and that's where an opportunity might lie. Here it is. Tight right-hander. Machine is just going to stay behind for now. However, the door is most definitely open here, so there's space being left. But unfortunately not able to capitalize just yet there. In the carousel, you just kind of have to wait, really. And actually, that is the BMW making his way out of the carousel. That's a big mistake make, and that's Maxime Cochera moving up 1 position. Nicely done. That position's now his to defend. Couple more laps to go, and let's see how Giel Kappen's doing then. Representing Nissan Racing Group. Together with Milan, who's currently in the chat right now. We're doing things for now. There is a yellow flag out of there. Not able to see who it is here, but that appears to be the Ferrari one more time. Oh, that's tough. Not a great race coming out so far from some of the drivers. Mickey Taylor's into the pits. Joe Stewart now currently basically lost. A couple of drivers are on different laps still. Some drivers are into the pits for massive damage. So driving a lost race, you'd like to argue. However, Klein's carousel coming up. Nossan almost losing it. Just about able to hold on. Making their way here through the last final corners until that long straight coming up here. Maybe the slipstream could just be enough. Only time will tell. Slipstream most definitely seems to be into effect, but the Lexus seems to be driving away slowly but surely. Straight line speed is just slightly higher of that Lexus apparently. However, can Thomas compensate for that into the corners? As for now, it doesn't seem to be, and actually now it is the Ferrari almost side by side. Osan staying right there, not opening the door as of yet. They're gonna try and hold on to the position desperately. Thomas Knoppek seems to be able to do so, at least till the end of the lap. Assuming nothing big happens here. Thomas Knoppek now pushing to catch up to Dyer one more time. It's Glenn Chiu here side by side with Fernandez as well, but Fernandez was able to use that slipstream to get past onto the straight. This Dutchman versus another Dutchman coming in. See, Mikael Fernandez is one of the team drivers as well, together with Matthijs from Amelroy in the Tulip Racing squad here. Chiu is one of these solo drivers here, so how is that going to affect drivers in the long run? It's not necessarily something I'm worried about. However, I am most definitely sure that there is a possibility here. As now all gaps are just kind of falling apart, really. And Chiu is losing a bit of pace compared to the white Ferrari 296 ahead of him. It's equal machinery, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem here. You're not able to find the Discord. Are you looking in the F-World Discord? Because my name is different there, I believe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can actually mention you. Milan. Oh, there's so many Milans in the server, actually. That's kind of frustrating. Okay, what I'm going to do, I am typing a dot in general chat there. There you go. Let me know if that helps. In the general chat, I've just done a dot. How is Chris Jones doing in P13? Let's have a look, shall we? Actually, where is he? Chris Jones, P13? Oh, wait, no. Yeah, no, wait, where is he? Chris Jones into the pits right now. P24 suffered some massive damage early on. And that's cost him a lot of positions on track. Because he kind of picked up the damage, I believe, midway through the lap here. And that is Thomas Knoppek going into the lead. I shouldn't be looking at chat. I should be looking at the race lead. What has just happened? Brogan Dyer loses the position. And now also Nossan's getting closer. Knoppek trying to get away as desperately as he can. Finally, the P1 in qualifier is now once again in the lead here. Lost it early on. Has now finally recovered. Doing a great job at that as well. Things are looking lovely. Yeah, P24 is not too great here, considering there's only 26 drivers remaining. Bjorn Dale. It's now Gorgetto next up for him. Ricky, it's alright. I forgive you, mate. I forgive you. I'm feeling nice today, okay? I'm just very glad that I'm able to be here. Alright, is your name Dutch Flyer? I assume it is. I'm gonna accept the friend request and assume that is you, Dutch Flyer. Judging by the name, it should be. But you never know, right? Just have to look. I actually didn't look at your username before. I just saw the logo and I was like, oh, sure thing. That will be it. Right, so I won't be able to help you out today as well, obviously. I've still got a very long way ahead, as Joey Stewart has just made his way past Giel Kappen. I'm gonna swap. I'm try to finish. All right. Have a good stint out there. I will be watching you. Make the Dutch watchers proud, including me. Oh, Thomas Knoppek just long gone for now. I tried to finish. Oh, I didn't even notice the typo. Morjesta pöytä, they would say in Finland. Oh, but understood you, mate. It's all good. Knoppek just getting ahead right now. He's done with it. He wants to get out of the battle. Create a big gap for himself. That's exactly what he's doing for now. So the main focus, we will now be P5 here. Dyer on the limit. 2 wheels into the grass. That will help cool him down. At least that's how it works in iRacing. At least that's how it worked in iRacing for a long time. Do people still remember that when everybody was driving through the grass to cool their tires? It was probably the worst era of iRacing that I have witnessed. It was definitely an interesting one as well. And well, Nossanden trying to stay ahead here, but I think that Thomas Knoppek is just gone for now. 2.3 seconds. That is a massive gap he's pulled. Does that surprise me? Not in the slightest. I know this lad is quick out there. It's just that overtaking is difficult. Have to wait for an opportunity to arise. And Nossan is doing the exact same thing for now. Just up the tail. Seems to be doing alright. Botond coming into the pits. And so is Giel Kappen coming in to swap drivers. Finally. Jake de Jong then make his way through here. Look at the views here as well over at the Noordschleife. Such a beautiful track environment right as well. Right in the middle of a forest. You've got the hills, you've got everything. What more can you ask for when it comes to a racetrack, really? Manuela Nossan still close by. Now through the carousel, if Dyer makes a mistake, he should be able to capitalize. However, hasn't really happened before much. We've seen one driver go off. But these two are just handling it nicely. That will help your exit a little bit more as well. Here's Jake de Jong. Currently within a second of Kemp, but Kemp is still driving away. So far it seems like they're both minding their own business here. Nobody's really getting closer for now. But that could change, so we're keeping an eye out, of course. Gap is ever so slightly decreasing between them. Jake de Jong is a tiny bit quicker for now. It's these two that we want to be watching the most here. The battle for second position still on through the entire race. Logan Dyer representing Wild Things Racing, doing what he needs to try and hold on to the race. Jake de Jong now most definitely getting closer. The gap is now down to only 0.7 of a second. Quite a big difference here compared to what we usually saw. Jake de Jong keeping it together though. He's for now just slowly but surely crawling his way up. Battle for P2 seems over for the time being as well. The gap currently more than a second. Means we've got a couple more exciting battles to watch here. I wouldn't be surprised if these drivers all find each other at some point. Kemp, de Jong, Junior and Hill are just tightening up that pack a little bit more. It's currently Kaio Junior in the lead in his BMW. Just look at how much of the track they're using. They're using the track in just a little bit more. Let's go through YouTube corner then. But the BMW behind is getting closer and closer. So what will it be? Time will tell. Junior. Gap is now increasing again, but Kemp has lost some time significantly. Look at how slow he is compared to the Ferrari here. This might be an opportunity for the American to arise. At least not for now. But now that they are so close, any mistake could make the difference now. Kleines carousel coming up, treating it nicely. Alexis got a little bit dicey there, but able to recover before he gets out of hand. Shouldn't be losing him too much time either way. Through Dottinger we go now. Making our way onto that big straight here. Is the gap big enough? I am not sure here, but Junior is arriving now to the party as well. He's getting closer on that straight. Closer to de Jong here. So Jake will have to both attack and defend at the same time. And we'll see how that goes in the end. Look at how close they're now getting to each other here. Jong is right up there using the slipstream to his advantage, and he wants to get by. Side by side they go now, but the BMW seems to stay ahead now. There was an opportunity there, but unfortunately Jake de Jong not able to stick the move here. And now they go once again onto the GP track here. They have us into the pits as well. Serving one of his pit stop. I wanted to say mandatory pit stop, but those don't exist in this league here. Using the main strain, you see 4 of the drivers here, and as suspected, they were going to get closer up to each other. As we are once again finding ourselves on the GP part of the track now. And the battle for P2 seems to be finished for the time being here. Knoppek now roughly 3 seconds ahead of Dyer. Lawson not able to do much about it either. That also leaves some drivers with very little screen time. As well, because they're just driving out of nowhere, right? There's Marco Keddy. Goes onto the Nordschleife. Just driving alone. Does see some drivers ahead here, so he's not too far off here. But keep in mind that the driver you are currently seeing ahead here is actually not a driver that they're fighting with for position. This 4-way battle then. Doing what they need to. Is the left and right chicane coming up now, getting ready to once again make their way out here. Jake de Jong with a nice little move. However, it's not over yet here. The move seems to stick though, as the BMW won't be able to get out ahead and recover. Nicely done here. However, Kempf doesn't seem too satisfied here. Basically almost bump drafting him at this point. Bill basically touching each other, making their way through the upcoming S corner once again. Now on to the Nordschleife they will go. One more time here. Getting closer. Try and fight it over through Hatzenbach. Gap just getting a little bit bigger now as well. As they enter the Nordschleife here. We'll see how things go for now here. As soon as you see those corners fading away, you're getting close to Hocheigeneer, as well as Quinnenbacher, which we're going to see then all the way up to Vlokplatz, which is that right-hander over at the top as well. And I'm just surprised as well that we are, well, almost an hour into the race. And the race so far has just been kept cleaner. Broken Dyer lost the position to Nossen. What has happened then? Must have been a big mistake. Otherwise that doesn't happen. You don't lose as much time here. Getting by on the Nordschleife is very difficult. So what has actually happened? He's a second down as well. Shame that's happened. But then again, good for an even more exciting race here. We'll keep an eye out if he's catching up sooner or later to swap over to the Brazilian one more time. Probably my favorite area of the track here. Adenauer Forst. Combining into Metz-Castel. Just very satisfying to see, of course. This corner is especially tricky. Go too wide and you screw up your entry point. So you have to go all the way to the outside here to then make sure that you have the inside line into the next corner, because that's where you can really get on the throttle. Jake de Jong trying to drive away, but the slipstream not helping him in any way, shape or form. Holding on to that P11 dearly for now. And so far hasn't made a big mistake. So if he keeps this up, how are you going to get past? Well, obviously you're going to have to come in at some point, right? You can't just rely on the tires lasting the entire way. If somebody actually does, well, massive respect to them, of course. To give you an idea as well, most of the drivers have not pitted, basically. I mean, it's up to from P17 to P26, so 9 drivers have come in for the pits. Some have come in more than others with damage or for driver swaps. The rest hasn't yet. My experience, roughly when you get into a 1.5 hour race, that's where you see a lot of drivers getting into a tire swap of some sort. As for now, that really hasn't happened then. Carousel it is. Gap between the drivers is kind of marginal. And here a battle finally. Kempf loses out on 2 then. driver orders changed significantly, but it's thanks to Alexis Kemp losing 2 positions. Won't be too happy about that one when they actually do the driver swap here. I assume that that could be coming in here. Driver number 8's gone off, but what has actually happened? Well, I'm not sure. Alexander Zhedev is able to keep going though, but has made a small mistake. Losing quite a bit of time as well. Luckily, nobody's really close to him. That's the only upside from all of this here. Kyle Jr. now pressured by Craig Hill. Seems to be going well with the right-hander. However, you're going to have to brake for that hard. Making there with True nicely, of course. No surprises there. Very, very wide there, though. However, now into the carousel. You can see that there's a tiny bit of... I'm not sure if that is actually just the car being dirty or a tiny bit of bodywork damage. It's kind of hard to see. It's also the point in the race now where everybody's kind of driving on their own. And there is a mistake by Kaio Jr. Oh no, well, it's just bouncing back and forth here. Making his way past, and I wouldn't be surprised if now it is Alexis Kemp to get closer once again and open up the attack. So, not even had time to change your pants after that one. No, you immediately have to keep going, and Alexis Kemp's right up there. So suddenly one of the most boring and dull parts of the race so far has turned into one of the most exciting here. As Alexis Kemp is just heating up his car, ready for an attack to go. Tiny bit wide there. Doesn't matter too much though. They stay side by side, even all the way through YouTube corner. Left-hander coming up, and might be just an opportunity later on. Things seem to be going well so far. Dyer still kind of far away, so I don't think it's really worth watching that battle for now here. I see another disconnect coming in there, leaving us up with just 26 drivers. Milan Lehmann in that car as well, using the slipstream as well pretty nicely. I'll say that the livery's looking great here. Milan not really getting closer by for now. So things looking neat for now. Chris Jones then finds himself close up to Shadayev. Bound to happen at some point, especially considering the Porsche driver just hasn't been able to keep it clean all around the track. That's what tends to happen then. Chris Jones. Getting closer and closer now. Obviously the Honda NSX underway the car out there. That's also why it actually had been needed to buff it a little bit, because it was a little bit slower around this track usually. That makes things nice and tight. There it is perhaps then. Chris Jones could go for the move here. And actually does so successfully as well. I see that Brogan Dreyer has lost quite a bit of time serving his first pit stop of the race. Has been stopped for, I believe it was 25 seconds. Indeed, that's the case. No driver swap. Most likely new tires. At some point you were going to have to, right? Alexander Zhedev is now far gone. In the meanwhile as well, there seems to be no stopping him for now, that being Chris Jones, who's making his way back up, but the gap is just so far. Next driver up ahead is already into the next lap, so it's not a good sight here, but he could try and defend for that position, and maybe we'll see an entertaining race even at the back today. Keep in mind, it's not always the races at the front that are the most interesting. Sometimes it's actually the opposite, where the races at the back are actually more interesting. Here, more drivers into the pits now. We've got Parks, Hill, and Paulie all coming in. Of course, the rest of the drivers going to have to do that at some point too as well, but it does mean that Lorenzo Gorgetto will gain a couple positions, at least for now. Gorgetto has not served the pit stop yet, so Be nice to at least take the positions for now, but has to actually drive really fast if he wants to stay ahead. So tough challenge up ahead for him. The Italian just doing his best for now. Parks has got himself a 30-second stop and go penalty. You know what that means? That means that he has made some form of infringement on the pit lane regulations, which means he's probably entered too fast. In fact, I think that's the only way you can actually get that penalty. So that's tough out there. Currently watching Marco Keddy do what he needs to, right? And now Force coming right up for him. And the Swiss driver has been handling it nicely. He's actually doing this as a team as well. So I assume in roughly 1 or 2 laps, we're going to see Marco Keddy come into the pits, get new fresh tires on, and get Tugber Bademshi into that car. He's waiting for it. And I wonder if the Dutchman can actually do a good job at bringing things home for them as well. The position, however, is looking good. Their Kampf going a little bit too wide, meaning that juniors are able to get further and further away. Gap now up to 2 seconds. Lehmann has finally found himself closer to the back of Jamie Edwards. You don't see quite as well here. Jamie has to be careful. The Dutchman is approaching rapidly. The Dutchman is actually looking really good out there. He's not doing exactly what he needs to. Making his way through the corners nice and tidy. I was told that McLaren isn't the greatest car for this, so he's doing his best as always can do, but he's getting closer and closer. Jamie Edwards seems to be struggling to keep up with the pace. So maybe time for a move now. Well, not quite. There wasn't quite enough space here, but he's now definitely found the back here. And only time will tell what the plan is here. Jamie Edwards, well, fighting for his life to try and hold on to the position here. And here he lets him by. I'm pretty sure he lifted, actually. So that means that, well, Lehmann makes it through nice and tidy. I think he realized that there was no point in keeping him up for now, especially when there's still 1.5 hours left to go. So an Angel also indicating that he's letting a driver by. That is Mikel Fernandez then. I mean, you'll take it, right? Can't wait for Matthijs van Amerongen to get into that car as well. Because he is a really good position to start out from. We'll see both drivers yet to pit as well. It's actually only Dyer who's really pitted over towards the front. And the second car that's actually pitted is Pauly, but he's currently set in P13. So the gaps are kind of massive, honestly. That was bound to happen at some point. Here's Jake de Jong then. Jake de Jong then now within half a second. Not bad at all. Wondering if the American could just get any closer. Would be nice as well. Racing Academy, Nick Parks. Where is Nick Parks? Let's have a look, shall we? Well, he was the driver with a penalty. I won't tell you how that happened, but I think you have your suspicions, seeing as it's a stop and go penalty. What has happened here? Fabio Giuffria now has disqualified next to the name. It says that he's still in the pit. Well, that's obviously not the case. What has happened then? Has there been a manual decision from the stewards here? Or what has actually happened? It's hard to tell, really. If somebody has any insights, please let me know. So at the moment, I've got no clue as to what has actually happened, but it's not a great start. Gap building up to 0.8, still the closest gaps between two drivers at the moment here. And the thing that I'm mainly interested about is how are drivers like Fernandez and Chiu going to end up defending against Dar, knowing that he's on fresher tires, obviously. Now, how quick can he catch up here? That's also going to be an interesting question. So, what is the optimal race strategy here? Tires once, twice, maybe not at all, if you're very, very brave. It would be like driving on ice for half of the race, but maybe that's what you're into. You kind of see at those races all around the Arctic Circle, right? In Finland and all those kind of countries where they actually have races on lakes. Sounds pretty fun to me. I have to say as well, but everybody's kind of driving on their own for now. I was waiting for some drivers to kind of find each other. And Van der Walt just lapping at the moment. Yeah. He's obviously running in the car that I most likely actually have seen him in before, now that I think about it. Has lost 6 positions still to start though. Not the greatest, but this lap's looking great. For now at least. Half a second quicker through the lap so far. Misses the carousel a little bit though. Not great. If I'm not mistaken, the disqualification has actually been taken away. He is indeed still driving. One of the drivers here is also not lining up with how my program is looking. So what has happened there then? Which player is missing for me? I've got 25 drivers on my race control, whereas I've only got 24 in the in-game HUD. So who's missing? Hard to say. Somewhere between Van der Wal and Dale. Alright, it seems that Botond has also gone missing, so I think he's out of the race. Oh, he's not. He's still driving. What's going on there? Who's missing? Alright, well that's interesting, to say the least. Somebody's missing, but I don't know who it is. We're aboard with Papadon though. Victory lies, obviously. Having policy drivers in the pits will obviously give you a little bit of a confidence boost now that you're actually in a good position. He's pitted once already. That was when he got a tiny bit of damage, I believe, to his car. Could have as well just put on some fresh tires, but even then it's not going to be the biggest of differences. As for now. Thomas Knopbeck leading the race in a convincing fashion. The gap currently being 6.5 seconds over to Nossa, who actually is catching up a little bit. The Lamborghini still good. Oh, guy got this cool. Who is it then? Because I wasn't sure. I couldn't see it in time. Or was that not Geoffrey who was on the disqualification? Did I just misread the names or did I remember them wrong? Hard to say really. But Tom, you are the admin, so you obviously know a lot more than me. That's why it's always good to have your insights on the stream. Here's finally another gap being made. Shake de Jong. Close up to Corsa. Getting closer now to the halfway mark of the race already. Believe it or not, we're going to be here for a while. Which I'm not complaining about. It's a lot of fun. It's actually good to see some actual racing, of course. Because that was kind of missing at some point. This is 296s here together. Shake de Jong and also the driver ahead, that's Corsa. As the order of the field will shake up a little bit here, thanks to all the disqualifications, pit stops, and you name it. Another disqualification coming in from Kempf, apparently. What is happening here? Well, he swapped over now to Luke Seele, but what has actually happened then? Tom, we need an update once again. It's kind of hard to follow along sometimes, but that field it's just getting smaller and smaller for now. Considering we started the race with what, like 30 drivers? A little bit more, I think. Quite a shame, of course, but oh well. It is what it is. It is obviously also in the matter of integrity, of course, that we want to keep things clean like this. Drinking some water out there as well. Make sure you stay hydrated, lads. It's a long stream. Especially the people that are driving out there right now. So obviously sim racing is quite intense. You might not realize this actually. I've noticed it firsthand. Jake de Jong just pushing along for now. Hoping to get a little bit closer by, but as for now it's not really happened. Just doing their thing out there together. Jake desperately trying to catch up or hold on at least. Bare minimum. Gap now is half a second, so it's kind of getting together. But you can just see how far they're split apart, right? You have to keep in mind that this circuit is so long as well, right? So some of the drivers here, in terms of on-track position, kind of 10 kilometers apart already, which is a long distance if you think about it, really. Some shorter tracks that would be good for 3 or 4 laps, of course. So kind of adds up to how things normally look, of course. Over the span of such long races, that's what tends to happen. Indeed, as I say that, there's only 24 drivers still going now. It's actually 23 now as we speak. The disqualifications are pretty strict, it seems to be. Jake getting closer and closer though, but in the meanwhile, also Matt House, who was battling for the entire beginning of the race, but now Polly is getting closer and closer, and that concerns me a little bit, considering that he has been mighty rapid out there. Same of course for Host, but he has been involved in way many more battles, and he is approaching at just such a rapid pace here. Polly keeping it clean, and there indeed the Bentley decides to move out of the way, realizes it's not worth fighting. It's a little bit of give and take as well, of course, because if you actually end up blocking somebody actively, not only is the driver behind you going to get frustrated, you're also just kind of hindering yourself here. Considering that you're just defending, taking defensive lines here, which costs extra time, means other drivers are going to get closer to you, making your job even harder. So sometimes you have to think about the long-term effects. Now, if there was like 1 lap remaining, I would say give it your all, of course, but we are not even halfway through the race yet as we speak. So that's always fun to see, of course. And I hope you guys have been enjoying the stream. In the meanwhile, for the people just joining in here, this is the ACC Strategist 2.4-hour race at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. The winner of the race able to get himself a nice little key over to a program called ACC Strategist. And that's basically exactly what the name does suggest. By winning the race tonight, you get a key, you get access to a virtual race engineer that is able to help you with all the strategies you could ever imagine. It just leaves you, for one thing, that's managing the strategy it's given to you. It's going to help you calculate, do I need tires? Do I need fuel? What else do I need to ensure that I can get the highest position? So long term, that's going to benefit you as well in the other races that we are doing. Because obviously, Formula Racing League is doing quite a few races out there. If you head over to our race account over at the SimGrid, you'll see there are just so many competitions that you can take part in if you want to, of course. They're all, a lot of them are actually free to sign up as well, not all of them. But if you want to join in some of those and be featured on the stream, feel free to do so. We host races in both Assetto, Corsa, Competizione, as well as in rFactor 2, if you're interested in that. We've got an 8-hour race at Suzuka starting soon at the 4th of May. I believe there is still time to sign up for that one. There's a 4-hour Nürburgring multi-class race as well. And then we've got some other events coming in as well. I believe we've got iRacing too, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, indeed we do. At Interlagos. In fact, it's not in this game. I wish it was, though. It would be a lot of fun. There's mainly endurance races you can find yourself in. But also some seasons that last a little bit longer. For example, we've got Taco Tuesdays, which is a 9-round event in Assetto Corsa Competizione. We're doing a British Touring Car Championship season as well in rFactor 2, which you can check out. Sign up if you want to here. We can die against another position as it is the driver behind him to pit, which is now Fernandez. Give you an idea as well to, for example, what the BTCC season looks like. We're doing Crofts, Brands Hatch, Netherton, Truxton, Donington Park, National. So some other tracks you don't get to see in this game as well. So a little bit of variety as well, which could be fun, of course, because sometimes you're just running out of tracks to run. Well, sometimes, of course, it's actually the opposite as well. The more tracks you have, well, the more you want to drive certain tracks, and the less you actually want to bother, right? You want to be good at one track, not necessarily at all of them. Obviously, you want to be the fastest driver if you can, but if you can just specialize in one track, be the best ever there, get a good rack in it, that would be fun as well. And also, choosing, what you find most fun is also tricky, right? DSQ Gorgetto 317. Yeah, I just saw that as well. I had to go look back at the VOD as well in the meanwhile, which I have on my phone. That's indeed where I saw that was the conclusion. Kind of tough out there, as Maxime Cocher is now also into the pit, so he's gonna lose that position later on. The Mazda MX-5 versus Renault Mini Cup coming up. That would be fun as well. If you ever want to get me aboard as well for rFactor 2, I would love to try out that game. Just a little bit of extra variety would be fun as well. I've been trying to get into regular Assetto Corsa games. Haven't really been able to do so, sadly. Wish I had the opportunity to. Because that would be a lot of fun as well. It's the game that I know most of. rFactor 2 is also a lot of fun, though. I was doing some open wheeler races at Sanford the other day. And I really want to just do some laps on there as well. Sounds like a blast, to be honest. I'm reading around. But if that championship is announced, please message me. I'd love to get some experience into that game as well. Of course, we can figure out the terms if you're interested, of course. Maybe you have a set coaster already. I don't really know what's up with that. But Tom is always happy to tell everybody more, of course. So if you're interested, hit him up as well. Spam his DMs coming in. He'd love that, I bet. Here is Kyle Jr. then for the overtake on the Ferrari 296. Just barely holding on, actually. Has stuck the move. Took a little bit longer, but has finally managed to do so. A very nice result by him as well to now try and make that gap happen. Damien van der Wal into the pit as well. Most likely doing their driver swap now. So that's where we're going to see Peter van Lieshout head into that car for the first time and most likely till the finish as well. That will be the most logical strategy, of course. That's what most drivers do here. Now that Lehman was driving it all the way to the finish. That's what he said. Fun to look forward to as well. Jamie Edwards is doing his thing out there right now, all alone. Goes for multiple drivers, but of course you want to give everybody some kind of, screen time as well, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be very fair, of course. I've just noticed as well that we finally got Matthijs van Ameroy into the car now. Good to see the first swaps coming in now. Obviously, he has taken over the seat of his teammate. That being Mika Fernandez, who was driving for the first couple laps. At a small test event on AC. 1960s cars like Mini Cooper, Imp, Mustang, GT2000 and Goodwood. That sounds like a lot of fun. It's a game I'm best at, so if you ever need me for those kind of events as well, hit me up. That goes for everybody in the chat, by the way.
At the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
There's the announcement finally. We are halfway through the race now. 8 laps done by most drivers, a couple still on 6. 24 drivers remaining as we have passed the first 50% of the Green Hell race that we are currently watching. Noëlla Nostan kind of been stuck here in second place for a long while. Thomas Knoppek's just gone into the distance for a long time. And he hasn't really looked back since, safe to say. I wonder when he feels the need to come in for tires. He will. That is great to hear as well. But if I'm not mistaken, rFactor 2 and Assetto Corsa have a little bit less advanced tools to actually swap over POVs who is driving close. So definitely also going to be a challenge for me. It's glad to hear that you guys are enjoying the stream at least here. Here is Fabio Giuffrida. 20th place here. And Sadaev and Dale both come in. So I've just noticed actually that one of the drivers is no longer driving. Meaning we're up to only 22 drivers now. Things are tough, and oof, that Porsche looks beat up. That was Alexander Zadev. Now, obviously, I had seen that happen before. His car wasn't looking the greatest for a long time. That's just the harsh reality of facing off on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Sometimes accidents will happen, and whether it would be either with another driver or with the wall, eventually a touch will happen for most of the drivers here. I can't imagine a single driver not having an incident here. At some point during their racing career, or their virtual racing career, of course. Awesome work as usual, Ricky. Yeah, it's a little bit different, right? Normally I do these shorter events, 60 to 90 minutes, somewhere in between those. This time also the Nordschleife, one of my favorite tracks in the entire game. Arguably my favorite track in the whole world. Probably not. I'd say I like Hockenheim more. Hockenheim's still out there for me. One of my favorites. Same as Donington Park as well, the unofficial home of Formula Racing League, of course. And a track that I am going to be visiting soon, because I am hopping on a flight Friday to head over to the glorious East Midlands to see the British Touring Car Championship opener. So if you're interested in meeting up with me, feel free to come say hi. I'll be there somewhere in the grandstands. Though I just realized that most of you actually won't know what I'm looking like, because we actually run the stream without a webcam. But you'll find out sooner or later, I suppose. And that's also why it would be so much fun to head over to the virtual BTCC once in a while. Here's Caillou Jr. then. Small mistake. What has actually happened then? I want to go see that one back here. As that seemed to have crashed the entire stream. That's not great. What has happened? Just doing his thing. Oof, that is a slide and a half. But the recovery is great though by the Brazilian. Sure, he loses that position, but... You know, if this was a drift server, I guess you could all imagine that he would have the most points by now. Beautiful recovery, however, it does lose him quite a bit of time. Donny, yeah, I am excited to go to Donington for the first time. It is on the list of tracks that I wanted to visit at least once in my life. I'm ticking off the list at quite a fast pace here. There's a couple tracks that I have done this year already, which I have actually never visited before. It was the first time in a long time that I've been at Sandford. Lovely track as well. Donington Park for the first time. Most likely also the Nürburgring, which I've actually never been to myself. And then what else is there on the track? Zolder is a track that I really want to visit, and also kind of close by here. Look at this here, the current top 5 all into the pit lane here. Some drivers headed out. Thomas Knoppek driving out, so maintaining his first position. Had 32 seconds into the pits now, and actually that pushes Broken Dyer ahead of him now. That's interesting. Knoppek was 7 seconds slower, but is now leading. Obviously his tires are a little bit older than they are on Knoppek, so in the end we might see that extra grip is just going to help him all the way through. Time will only tell. Nice overtake by Jones. I actually didn't see it. Oh yeah, that was this one, of course. Yeah, no. I wasn't paying attention to that one very much here. I was focused on the front of the field here, where lots of stuff is happening at the same time here. That's just the downside, right? You can't cover everything. We don't have a proper production crew, just watching all the individual POVs and pulling it all together. Although, I wish we did sometimes, right? Just going full TV-esque, which is obviously my main goal. And, well, that goal is a little bit closer to reality than I am still imagining at this point. Reason for that is pretty simple. I am going to be making my debut as a real-life car racing commentator soon at the TT circuit in Assen, the Netherlands, which I am very excited for. I'm going to be commentating on the Dutch Time Attack Challenge as well as some drag racing we're doing on the main straight. And I am beyond excited for sure here. They're showing also into the pits now, serving his mandatory pit stop. I've also been in talks with another commentator to give me some tips and tricks as well. So I'm most definitely trying to up my game here. Yes, indeed. My hometown track here. In fact, if I were to leave home right now, I would be at the track in 15 minutes by bike. It's pretty incredible. And I'm so glad I actually am here. The battle for the first place is on one more time, but with the tire advantage here, I can't imagine Nostan holding on for very long. But Assen's a lovely track as well. I gotta say, it's a tiny bit too, well, thin, I suppose, in terms of making for some good car racing. Now, it is possible to go side by side, but not as much as to say Sanford, of course. If you're into motorbike racing, it would be even more exciting, of course. Unfortunately, I am not. Marco Keddy making his way past Nostan here, who has lost a lot of time, and he has actually found himself in an incident now. Angel also making his way through. That's why he dropped down 2 positions in quick succession. Lawson to me will always be a S tier track, although obviously that would be a little bit of bias as well, because if I were to live close to Zandvoort, I would probably prefer that one. My tracks right now, most definitely in terms of favorites, from least favorite, well, top 3 is pretty clear. Hockenheim in first place, followed by Donington Park. At least is what I'm imagining. I'd love to drive the track, can't imagine it being bad. And then probably Zandvoort for a close third as well. Brands Hatch is most definitely on the list as well. Wanna go there someday, probably for the British GT. That would be a lot of fun. To be honest, I really like flying as well. I love traveling in general, so taking a bus or a train there, it's not looking too unlikely actually. Which is, well, very, very lovely. Thomas Knoppek hasn't found his way past the bright pink Lexus as of yet. However, that could change, of course, over time. Just waiting for Thomas to find the right moment to strike. Actually, I just read a rumor as well, which is interesting. Read it a couple hours ago, just before launching the stream, I believe. That the the McLaren Mercedes Formula 1 team might get a sponsor by MasterCard as their title sponsor, which is really cool, actually. Actually, it doesn't sound too bad now that I think of it too. I think it's cool. It's on my list to get on, to get an rFactor 2 to have a race on. Is there a proper mod for it? I actually was wondering this the other day. I don't know much about the rFactor 2 modding community. I know it's in Assetto Corsa at least. I have raced there myself in the Renault Clio Cup. That was a blast. Although, it was also the track that actually did best tank as well. I knew it the best, of course. So, I had a little bit of an advantage there. What else is on the list then? Depending on the race category you are going to do. But if you were to do Clios, maybe somewhere like Autodrome Most would be a blast. I think the new track in Hungary is awesome as well, actually. What is it called again? Balaton Park or something? Actually, I hadn't heard of it before until, well, a couple weeks ago. But it seems to be making for better racing than the Nürburgring. At least for now. Probably thanks to it being a little bit wider as well. Though obviously the Nürburgring is also an awesome track, of course. Now, if I were to ever go to a Formula 1 race, it would probably be at Hungary. That was to be expected, of course. Actually, Tom, have you ever visited the TT circuit in Assen? I assume you've been to Spa. I assume you've been to Zolder. Probably met it as well. What else is close to you? Because I'm obviously not sure where in Belgium you're located. I know you are from the Flemish part, if I'm not mistaken. Here we see another driver swap then. It's going to be Alberto Persico into the car. That also means that Emmanuel Nossan has done a good job maintaining pace for quite a while. Forcido coming in also means that they're going to be pushed further back a little bit. Brogan Dyer still holding on. Thomas not too satisfied about it, of course. Roughly an hour remaining of the race now. Spa, Zolder, Method, yes. I actually really want to go to Method, but it might not be for the reason you expect. I want to go to Method because Rallycross there seems really awesome, and I just really want to watch the Rallycross event live at least. Obviously, I've seen Autocross, I've seen banger racing, it's all good stuff. I've seen stock cars, but true Rallycross is something else, and I love it. Based in Ghent. Ah, that's actually not bad at all. For you know, positioning here. I think it must definitely be alright here. Now Thomas Knoppek has been struggling to keep up on the main straight. The Lexus just seems slightly faster around here. Despite Thomas Knoppek having, well, that slipstream to his advantage here. It's incredible to see how much of a difference that car makes there. Lexus obviously is one of the most powerful cars, if I'm not mistaken. Having officially crossed the 60-minute mark now as well. You're getting closer and closer to an end, although I say that. Obviously still very far away. That's just how it is, right? Glenn Chu still in the car. He's driving it solo this time around. Angel quite far away, so he's going to have to keep pushing here. Lap time's currently quite alright there. 8:32s are not bad whatsoever. Angel was doing something similar here, but fast... Well, the best time still is by this man for now. Steyer, his last lap being an 8:22, not bad at all either. But that's awesome, great track. But no good mod for RF2. I need to learn how to do tracks. If you were able to do that, it would be pretty fun. You know what I also really dislike? That there's no proper mod for a circuit that I really like for slower cars. Circuit Meppen in Germany, right across the Dutch border basically. I know there's an old mod for it, outdated as well, for rFactor 1, but no one for rFactor 2. If there was, I would love to race on it personally. I saw an awesome mod as well. That was the ADAC Lupo Cup. Volkswagen Lupo, a tiny, adorable little car that could. I think it will make for some great racing because it's a slower, twisty track, so everybody will ensure to stay close. It's going to all come down to who dares to go for the moves here. And speak about daring to go for a move. There is a first opportunity for Thomas Knoppek then. Wants to open up, wants to force the driver ahead to take a different line, but it's not happening as of yet. Maybe then as we head onto the Nordschleife again, there might be another opportunity coming soon. Making their way through the left-hander and then the right-hander. The chicane coming up. And now onto the Nordschleife Hugo one more time. Maybe there will be an opportunity. In the meanwhile, though, it is Caio Jr. getting closer. The BMW seems to have more straight line speed than his opponent. That means that the Brazilian moves up to P8 in a convincing fashion. And there will be nothing that the 296 can do, at least not for now. Now it's up to Caio Jr. to try and get a gap going. Whether that would be possible or not, time will tell. But as for now, it seems like he is ahead, and he will most likely stay ahead as long as he keeps working on that gap. However, that will be tricky. Tires obviously do play a factor into this. Both of them have pitted. Notably, Junior has actually been staying in the pits a little bit closer. That sounds awesome. Our very own Mario Mariano in Poland is going to the Yaris Cup. Classic 68 horsepower Yaris racing. Now I'm jealous actually, because I really want to get a track day car at some point. But it's just too expensive. I can't afford it at the moment, sadly. Not even in the, like, you know, slowest disciplines of racing. There's anything I can do, right? Track day is not happening. I was thinking about getting into autocross, then realized how expensive that was as well. And turns out it's not happening. Plus I need a big license as well to carry my car around. So it's not happening, unfortunately. Renting a car is an option, but that's expensive too, so... maybe one day. Alright. And I actually feel like driving fast in a slower car is more fun than, you know, driving a not-so-close race in a faster car. Maybe that's controversial, I'm not sure, but... as a wise man once said, and this is the man behind ACNN, the Dutch amateur competition in the north of the Netherlands, based around TT Assen. He has actually said it is more fun to race in a Citroen C1 than it is to not race in a Porsche, and that's something that I stay with. PC died, got it. Game just froze at 267 kilometers an hour and just hurt my ears. Oof, that's not good. Also doesn't sound too great here. There's a yellow flag out, but it's been solved immediately. It is the car number 8 once again, I believe. Yep, Shadeyev was definitely driving slower there. I saw it on the minimap. As I see, well, once again, he's struggling around here. Getting himself into the barrier. Just waiting out for the cars to cross ahead of him. And as we see the mistake being made over towards the back, we also see that Brogan Dyer, well, he has lost the position here. Which means that Thomas Knoppek is officially leading the race again. Expecting whatever will happen next time round is going to be the same as we saw earlier. Maxime Cochere here, gaining another position here, is letting the drivers by the Brazilians. So I assume that Caio Jr. might have done something that wasn't very nice of him. First FRL DNF in 200 races. That's impressive as well, though. 200 races without a DNF. And then the first one being thanks to a technical issue. I respect the dedication. What was your name, mate? What was your name in the server? I'm trying to always make a list of seeing who's, you know, gone off and who's still racing, but it's kind of difficult. Because there's just so many drivers you have to pay attention to, right? There's Pat Baton as well. It's kind of gone unnoticed under the radar after driving in no man's land for quite a while here. And it's Super Bademci now in the Ferrari 296. He's been handed over the car by the Swiss driver, that being Marco Keddy, of course. And it is the Dutchman pushing up as well. It will be a tough battle to hold on. Of course, it's Matthijs van Amelrooy into the car. Oh, Chris Jones, the only Honda. Oh, you were the Honda. Yeah, you crashed earlier on as well. I didn't have the crash on camera, but your car looked good as well. And oof, that is a big crash between Tukur Bajemski as well as Matthijs van Amelrooy. They will not be very happy with that one. Yeah, Tukur's frustrated. You can see flashing the lights as well. That damage will have massive impact on the race later on. Oh, that is such a shame. I'm glad to catch that on camera as well, but that did not look good for either driver. Going to cost them quite a bit of time. Tukur has to take that car back into the pits, of course. Even making his way through the car itself is difficult now. Oh, that hurts to see. It really does. Not saying his rate's over necessarily, but they've got such a long way to go. Get back into the server, of course. Got it. Yeah, that's the only word I've got for it here. Yeah, technical issues always frustrating. I hope you're able to get your PC going. Yeah, understeered into the wall, which led to a bigger crash further around when it let go. Yeah, I saw you having to let by a couple drivers as well. I caught that on camera as well. I saw you letting by like 5 or 6 drivers in well, quite a small area of the track as well. But that's the only thing that you could do. It was tough. Same as I was saying with Kenny, that corner isn't a 2x2, one has to back out. Well, yeah, as was proven by Tukur Bademski as well as Matthijs van Amelrooy. Van Amelrooy seems to be actually doing alright still though. Still not too great, of course. Damage never a good sign. He seems to have the pace in it, so it's most definitely marginal despite that looking like a big hit. No, but MC, he has lost more time, and that makes sense because he went head on into the wall. Trying to drag it back. Yeah, I saw that. Actually, they managed to, and he had some nicer battles later on as well. I noticed that. Jake is showing using the maximum of the track and a little bit more. Every single driver seems to do that here, so there definitely seems to be a little bit of grip there. Jake getting out of that carousel perhaps a little bit earlier than he would have wanted to. And Caio Jr. once again just trying to find a connection over to the drivers ahead of him. Gap currently being 0.8. And with 50 minutes left of the race, that's also a good reminder for me to get hydrated. And I recommend you guys do this the same as well. The sponsor of this race obviously being water. No mid-race rejoin. I didn't see it. 21 drivers, not a good sign. And that's a driver standing backwards on the road as well. I didn't even notice it was so dark. Oof, that is tough. Who actually was it though? I couldn't even see it, but oh, that looked tough. I couldn't even tell who it was. It was so dark out there. Looked like a BMW of some sorts, but I couldn't even tell. It was so quick. No, it wasn't Nick Parks. He's so far gone. Who was it then? If somebody could go back and tell me who that was, would be very much appreciated. I couldn't catch it in such a small timer. And Dara's come into the pits now. This is his last attempt to try and do something about it, right? If he now manages to catch up somehow with the fresher tires, then things might look good. But even then, you know it's difficult, and not a big risk to be taking as well. Is realizing that well. Just losing so much time in here. Took back by them. She's going to have to come into the pits as well. Repair the damage that he's picked up over time. Nick Jr. is pushing on as well. Kleine Carousel, no problem for either driver now. But I wonder what the strategy here is on Dyer. Has he planned a 2-stop, or is this for other reason? Has there been an incident that's gonna notice? I don't really know myself. Time will tell, I suppose. Half a seconds between the driver now. As the Brazilian just storms up here through the straight. Trying to hold on, trying to catch up as well, of course. He seems to have a little bit more pace than the Ferrari ahead of him. Using that slipstream to his advantage as well, but the gap still is marginal. He's gained 2/10 on this straight alone. Now basically right up there once again. Showing we'll have to try and defend here. Jake's been managing to do so quite nicely, but maybe it's a little bit too much to ask for. They're both solos, so they're both feeling the tiredness coming in at some point here. Things are tough. Things are tough for all of the drivers at this point, right? Robert Emschi losing so much spots. They were up for a podium at some point and now find themselves in P10. The harsh reality. That's what happens when you have a crash like that. Luckily, the stewards will have a look at it, I suppose. It's not great. Most definitely not there. You know, Lehman just doing his own thing. The 3 drivers behind, but that's because so many behind him has actually did DNF for now here. He's over 10 DNFs, isn't that crazy? Now this track obviously sports the nickname of the Green Hell for a reason, right? So seeing it out there is kind of difficult. And I'm also curious to see how Maxime Cochera will defend against the drivers now coming up from behind. One of them being Bademchi. Bademchi obviously is trying to catch up at a massive speed, and while he is a quick driver up there in skill level there with Marco Chetti, Maxime Cochera realized there's no point in defending it in the first place. However, then getting the inside line actually looked kind of promising still, but even then doesn't seem to be worth it. And actually Maxime going a little bit wider than he would have anticipated perhaps. Position now long gone, of course. It's just a harsh reality he's facing. Maxime Cochera in P10 for now. 0.8 seconds between them. And still this man leading in a convincing fashion as well. My throat is just not helping me at the moment. Gotta drink more. Gotta stay hydrated. That was the word I was looking for. Was a Porsche. Jaedev. Yes, indeed, he's gone. Now that you say it. Yes, he was the only Porsche on the grid. Is now standing still. Does that mean race over? I'm not sure. But yeah, that's the only Porsche that has been on the grid tonight. So if there was a Porsche involved in something, it has to be him. He hasn't had the cleanest of races. I think he's kind of realized that himself. Has spun out a couple times, touched the barriers even. Know what you like to see here. And here's just where you see the difference as well between the drivers, right? Maxime desperately trying to hold on to the back of the drivers, but it's just not happening. I noticed as well, by the way, that the side here didn't update for a long time. Now it finally does. And I think that's thanks to the sector system that you have on the Nordschleife, right? That makes most sense, of course. It was kind of delayed by a long while. Showed Tugber Bademshi in P5 for a long time when he was actually P10. Has just made his way back up to P9 now. Kyogu Jr., he most definitely won't be happy about that one. Finally gaining a position. Was him, yes, that's what I assumed. If you were speaking the truth about it being a Porsche, then it has to be him and there's no other way around. Yeah, it was kind of tough to see. It was dark out there. Seeing the shadow doesn't really help. But if it was a Porsche, I thought it was a BMW at first, but I thought it was a green accent on the BMW, which made me think, well, which car is actually black and green? But turns out it was just a little bit of the background coming in where the light actually did come through. That makes a little bit more sense, of course. Zadev is still getting out there, though, which I appreciate, right? Hasn't had the cleanest of races. Has been struggling, but he's not keeping up, which I very much admire. And that more drivers should have, to be honest. Even though you know that the race is, well, not going to be your greatest result. In the end, it's also a little bit of sportsmanship, I think. Obviously, if there's just no way you can continue, right? Because your internet's gone down or your PC is crashed. That makes sense. And I understand that nobody really wants to drive a lost race, but I still think that it is worth the effort, right? They should ban black cars. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's for a safety thing. What if we just add those high-vis vests all over the car? Right? We just attach them to the car with a bit of duct tape. Or even better, reflective tape. Then nobody will ever crash into each other. The downside is, if you're shining your light on them, you will get blinded. But it is a theory that I have that I could be working now. Would be fun during endurance racing as well. Will make things interesting. I actually wonder what the regulations are. Because I actually remember very clearly. I mean, I remember it so clearly that I don't remember which track it was on. But hear me out here, okay? As you watch Peter Felicia there open up an attack on House. I remember during the 24-hour series in the winter, I believe it was December of 2023, I was watching the 24 hours of Abu Dhabi. And there was a Porsche GT3 Cup car out there, a 992, that had taken damage to the front of his car. And that caused one of his front headlights to malfunction. I think it was actually out completely. And I remember the commentator said, well, the regulations say you have to start with a headlight, with two of your headlights, not necessarily finish with those as well. And that made me think, well, you know, I know it is reflector tape, genius, yeah. See, I'm smart. I have some good ideas, so maybe we can enforce this as well. Take the Valise out. Has just overtaken the Bentley of House. A good job at doing so. Is now trying to get out there as well. 42 minutes remaining to do so. Here the Bentley goes a little bit wide, following the lines of Peter Felicia, who actually only just barely made the corners anyways. Logan Dyer getting closer now to the driver ahead of him. As Glenn Chiu, but you just know how fast that Lexus is out there, so look at it coming all the way back there. Glenn Chiu can only watch in his mirrors, fearing for his life, and that Lexus is getting closer and closer, now even into slipstream range as well. Insert Eddie Murphy gif. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And here it is, the overtake here by the Lexus onto Glenn Chiu here. Nothing he can do. I actually did synchronize deliveries, by the way, for the people asking, so I'm not sure why it doesn't show up. Maybe it didn't send any. Maybe there was something wrong with the file here. Could very well be the case. It's hard for me to say, really. Trust me, I have taken my time to update my awesome sim racing. as well as synchronized delivery to ensure that things were working correctly here. This is a battle going on for 7th position. It is still going to be De Jong versus Junior. Brazilian had a good race in terms of entertainment value, that's for sure. Massive overtakes coming on. Also some incidents, a very nice save that we saw as well. Now, some drivers that have driven the cars over at Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift will be proud of. I see it black also. Not many uploaded liveries. Alright, so maybe that explains it then here. As the BMW does make its way through on the straight now. The Ferrari not able to keep up here. Slipstream as well as the straight line speed. Just not there. And it's good to see you, Marco Caddy. You had a beautiful stint coming on. A shame to see that your teammate got rammed into. Oh, well, I'm not entirely sure if that actually was the case. I am definitely not qualified to be a steward as of yet. Yeah, Jake De Jong now falling all the way back. All the way back. Still P8. Not bad at all. And Marco, you were looking great out there. It was a shame that you couldn't keep up with the drivers ahead of you. That being Miko Fernandez. No, it wasn't Miko Fernandez, was it? It was Knopek. As well as Dyer, of course. And then it was one of the Italian lads. Who actually was it then? It was Nossen, I believe. Yeah, there was quite a bit of difference in pace as well. Lovely stuff, however, coming out from either of the drivers. And well, Marco, you've done a good job at it. So it's good to see that the number 737 is still out there as well. And if not mistaken, you're an aviator, guys. So actually, is that your favorite plane, or is that the plane that you currently fly? Yeah, what happened to Tugberg? Tugberg got slammed into in a corner where you can't really go too wide. And then basically hit into the wall. Had to drive all the way back, of course, to the start finish as well. Get his car repaired. That took quite a bit of time. And that caused him to be up in P10 at some point. It's the harsh reality, but that has happened here. Craig Hill now coming in. Some drivers are able to catch up. Peter Verlieshout's driving all the way over. Took to go off an 86G that does. Yeah, well, I'm sure it will be looked at later on. Yeah, 737. Some of you fly as well. I am going to be flying for the first time in a long while this weekend to head over to Donington Park. I'm going to be flying with KLM. I've decided that Ryanair wasn't for me for reasons. I've heard some horror stories, although I was told that if you just oblige their rules, it's actually not that bad. But knowing me, it's better to have some margin. Oops, and there the crash of my YouTube app happens, so I'm quickly not able to look at chat. I hope I'm not missing any messages. It's back up again. Nothing to worry about. Now, I actually wanted to double check here as well which plane I'm going to be on, because I remember that it was on an Embraer plane, which I had actually never been on before. At least not that I know of. I've been on Airbus and Boeing planes. Embraer is a plane I've actually never been on, but it looked quite comfy. Although I am obviously still a student, so it's going to be economy class for me. Better KLM. Well, if you're a professional pilot, because I actually wasn't sure if you just were a hobby pilot, but considering you're flying a 737, I assume you're either very rich or driving as a full-time pilot, of course, for any of the airline. May I ask what airline you fly for? You don't have to answer the question if you don't want to. I don't know if Switzerland has a national airline. I assume they do. Probably Swiss Air exists. I just have no clue where they actually fly. They probably fly to Amsterdam. Propeller plane. I hope not. That has me worried a little bit. It's probably also the paper plane is probably the closest to the plane that I actually can afford to be on. Things are rough at it. It's Captain Foster. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he arrives at the destination now and early every time. I remember flying to Stockholm to meet my friends in Östersund, and oof, that got really close for comfort. Excuse me for interrupting my own story there, but Tugberg Bodemshi also finds himself going off. What you were not taking. Ah, right. You're flying for... Oh, right. Well, I mean, after all, it doesn't matter too much, right? Plane is plane. And I respect airlines as well that exist like that because they keep flying accessible as well, right? So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Although, do I need to be worried if you're flying me? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm headed over to Birmingham. There I'm going to take a bus because that was cheaper. And, well, the only thing that I was worried about is the landings with Ryanair as well. However, I was told that that is kind of a stereotype, and there's actually a reason behind it as well. That it's supposed to be safer, and I think there were some other reasons as well, quicker. So I don't blame him, to be fair. But yeah, Ryanair is honestly great because it keeps things accessible. Because even then, like KLM economy class isn't too cheap anyways nowadays. Like, I was planning to take my girlfriend along later on. And we met after I had my ticket books already, so it's kind of tough to get her on the same plane. The tickets by then was like 330 euros return, which, well, is a lot of money, especially if you're still a student, of course. But to be honest, I just love traveling as a whole as well, so it doesn't really matter to me if I'm stuck in a bus for hours. I've actually taken a Flixbus once for like 24 hours to take myself all the way over to Eastern Europe. It wasn't the most comfortable, but it was for sure an adventure. Just good fun being out there as well. And that was cheap, to be fair, so it was good as well. 35 minutes remaining of the race. As Peter van Lieshout makes a big mistake. Finds himself into the wall. I hope damage has been marginal. It didn't look too big of an impact. He was kind of just riding along like you would do in Forza Horizon 5. If you're frustrated that you're not winning the race. So, yeah, not too great out there for him. A small mistake. Peter van Lieshout luckily able to keep going though, which is the most important part. Aiming for the wall, watching that one as well, probably. Not too happy about it. That happens, of course. And there I see Craig Hill as well. Getting himself a 30-second stop and go penalty. I actually haven't mentioned this before on the stream. But Craig Hill has found himself with a 30-second stop and go penalty, which means that he has gone too fast in the pit lane, either on entry or on exit, or anywhere in between, of course. So the entry obviously is the most likely cause, of course. We're getting closer to the end here. She got a little bit dicey, managed to recover nicely though. Definitely in control of the car there. Looked like he was about to lose it, however, but he's just so on the limit right now. Very impressive stuff we're seeing, and if I was a certain Brazilian in a BMW ahead of me, I would not be too happy seeing it. Scary stuff out there, just how much he's gaining over time. I felt on having a good time here, and there seems to be yellow flags somewhere on the track, and it's the car number 308. Alberto Persico into the wall. Now that hurts me for one reason. Obviously, Alberto Persico, he came into the car to replace one of the drivers earlier. That was Emanuela Lawson, and they were off for a good start, and now he is sparked up. What's the call going to be? Continuing? Or just leaving it as is? It would be a shame to end it that way. But it is most definitely possible. Just seeing him out on the track is never a good sign. Now, can the BMW stay ahead of the 296 for now? The answer is yes, short term, but there's still a couple legs to go. Of course, should be 3 or 4 more, depending on how things go. And there he is, outbraking himself. Kyle Jr. goes way too wide. Now it will be Tugber Badamshi moving up a position as they head over to the start-finish line here. 32 minutes to go as the Dutch driver will once again be making his way over into a better position. P7 it is now. Paulie will be next up. But Amaroy also has been overtaken as he was into the pits. So good stuff coming out here. Nico Fernandez back in the car now. Lamoureux calling it quits for the night, I assume. 30 seconds to try and finish it all. Now, still in P10. Hill is behind now. You don't see it on the stream as of yet, but he is behind as well. So that penalty won't really play too much of an issue as for now for him. No way that he can take advantage of it. And Caio Jr. well, he's wondering where it all went wrong, but still a 7th position finish would be adequate. I think he'll be very happy with that. In the meanwhile, though, things have been changing, well, very rarely in the front since the group has fallen apart. Thomas Knopback in the lead, and he's got a minute in terms of a gap, so quite significant. He could even pull off a pit stop if he wanted to. John Angel 60 seconds behind, and then behind it, it's a little bit closer. Logan Dyer in P3. Trying to get closer up, but still got a long way to go here. Thomas Knopback's been leading in a convincing fashion. That's how I know Thomas Knopback best as well. Just looking great out there. Exactly what he needs to. Maintaining the pressure higher. He actually hasn't set the fastest lap of the race here. That's still in the hands of Dyer. That doesn't matter. He's just consistent with him. His last lap was at 8:17.650. 3/10 of his fastest lap. So as long as he can keep this up, he should be good for a victory here. Back markers not playing too big of a problem around such a big track like the Nordschleife. Obviously that could change into the last half an hour here, as we have officially reached that mark here. Means it's 11 o'clock now also. Well, I'm going to be in bed later. Gonna be sending out my invoice and immediately headed to back. So yeah, that's just how things are looking right now. .2 seconds between the Brazilian and the Dutchman, just getting ahead now. Nothing will change, at least not for now. Now, which drivers have I actually not been looking at too much here? It's Maxime Cochera again. Just also to give some showing of what it's looking like earlier. Matt House has come into the pits again as Nick Park goes very, very wide on the exit there. Then immediately oversteers into the wall. Has to back up as well to get out. It's the back barrier as well for good measure, but turning around there is proving to be tricky. Oof, that's not what you're seeing at all. Now, obviously, he's got quite a big gap here. Papaton is still very far away. Oh, the track roughly, but as he's continuing, it's just the harsh reality that he's going to have to make the time up. Here's Mickey Taylor on the GT track as we speak here. Into turn 1 he is specifically. Doing his thing out there. I believe that's called the Yokohama S, but I'm not sure if it's also called that on this particular layout. I'm pretty sure it's only called that on the layout that they use in the Endurance Cup layout. Which is not this one, this is the full Endurance layout, which is in the game. It's always a little bit confusing because you've got so many layouts, right? You've got the proper Nordschleife, you've got GT, Endurance Cup. They all kind of have a few differences between them. I can just make it a little bit more difficult as well. Is there actually a line out with the Suchlive as well? I know it exists, but nobody really takes it. That is also a little bit of a slip up here from Cochera, meaning that Nico Fernandez takes that position away with ease here. So there's just 19 drivers remaining now. More and more drivers leaving the server as we speak. It's not a great sight, to be honest. Especially when there's so little time to still just keep going. Maxime Cochera will be kicking himself. Watching that one back as well onto the stream. Was entirely preventable. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case here. Caio Jr. in the BMW, but Hemchi just staying ahead for now. Caio Jr. would love to just stay with him for now. Use that slipstream to his advantage. perhaps catch up to a couple other groups as well, but even then they're quite far away. Demchi is kind of getting closer to Montepoli at least, who is still driving out there. We've got another commentator. Dimajusta, 1 minute damage after lap 1. I had to wait 1 minute till the complete field was passed. Oof, that is tough. Dimajusta, what is your in-game name, my friend? It's kind of hard for me to keep track of all the drivers, especially considering FRL isn't a service that I'm usually on. I do calls for them from time to time, usually one-off events, which I do. It's a lot of fun as well, but sometimes, you know, it's just not a lot that I can do. Obviously, I'm very busy as well. Coming mainly from Counter-Strike, which is what I do in my free time, which I'm actually trying to make a living in. Craig Hill still's got that 30-second stop and go as well. He's going to have to serve somewhere in the race. Now, Howes obviously won't catch up in that time, but he will be very close here. So, imagine this, right? Obviously, he doesn't need to do anything else as long as he just stays there. Actually, he can't do anything else even if he wanted to. So, how long will he be stopped for? Well, I think his pit time will be about 40 seconds maybe, plus 30 then. Puts him in the danger zone. For this driver, Matt House, he can just keep up the pace that he currently has. He is a little bit slower than Hill at the moment, but marginal. Maybe there will be a reality where he actually does catching up. Oh, you were Van der Wal. Oh, right, yep. I was watching you making that comeback all the way. Shame it ended that way, though. Nico Fernandez. Still close up. And it's Jake de Jong under pressure. The 296s here, equal machinery for the both of them. It's going to all come down to the setup and the driver at this point. And Mikael's just killing it right now. And that would look like a really quick sector to me. It's tough as well to see these things happen, of course. You were actually teamed up with Peter Velisa, right? So you're still going. I think this should be your car if I'm not mistaken. Driver behind does have a penalty to serve, so not an immediate threat, of course. And with that 30 seconds, Peter Velisa will have loads of time as well. So if we can just keep him behind for the rest of the lap at least, then he might decide to come in. Try and catch up later again. I think you guys should be good here for a top 11 finish at least, which is better than a 1/3 of the grid, 2/3 of the grid basically, especially with so many DNFs coming in. So it should most definitely be doable here, especially because the pace, well, isn't actually too big of a difference here. Nico Fernandez has overtaken on the straight now. It's bound to happen at some point. Damien van der Waal, you're Dutch as well, right? Lots of Dutchies actually in the chat as well. Fun to see. Craig Hill. Still half a second away. Staying with somebody is one thing. Also, actually staying, overtaking is one thing. And there's the yellow flag again. So Mickey Taylor was gone off. Makes his way around nicely. However, also basically removes any chance to catch up to any driver ahead for the time being here. Luigi Frida is still far away. P18 as well, second last position for now. The Hill's been parked in the pit lane for a long while, so realistically we've got 18 drivers still going here. Close to half the field disappearing. It's not what you want to see, but it is the harsh reality we are currently living in. Sometimes that happens, right? And I was telling you guys before as well, that it is called the green hell for a reason. Craig Hill just trying to stay along at least. Slipstream helping him, but he's kind of too far away to use it to the fullest. However, he's most definitely quicker. And now it is. There's that pool coming in. Way less air resistance will help you. And there's Caio Jr. now also with a 30-second stop and go penalty. A harsh penalty to be handed out. Especially this late into the race. They're going to have to serve it too. Caio Jr. in P10, but that could also mean that things could get dicey out here. Compare him to where he is right now. So on the GT track to Peter Van Lieshout. That will for sure push Van Lieshout ahead actually. And push them into the top 10 as well. Could be a good result. I don't know what the 24 hour will look like. 10 drives after 12 hours, 5 after 24 hours. Oof, that's tough. It might be. However, I think with such a commitment of an event, right? If you crash out at let's say like 12 hours into the race, doesn't it even bother you at that point? Because like, you just want to keep going, right? So I respect that very much. Fernandez making his way past Bademci here, actually on the Nordschleife part of the track here. These 296s aren't done with each other just yet. Zuckerberg to try and stay on their knees. Well, stay on their heels, I think the saying is, not on their knees. Whoopsie. I don't know my English sayings, mate. I don't even know my Dutch saying in the first place. Kind of embarrassing, really. A little bit of a slide coming in for Bademci. Makes me think he's struggling with the tires a little bit as well. Last driver swap coming in then. So it will be the last 20 minutes here. Coming in as Giel Kappen has once again taken a spot. Got the clean of 7 laps. You're looking great out there. Just unfortunately there was really nobody to battle. Apart from like one lad. But that's just the harsh reality sometimes. That's yes, of course. I mean, I just wish they were able to keep going. That would be fun. We did the 24 hour of Spa on FRL. A favorite to win, crashed on lap 1, 30 seconds of damage and left. Team had apparently decided there was no point. 24 hours is loads of time, right? If you were 1 second quicker per lap. Sorry, my mom came in. If there's still, you know, 24 hours to go, you're 1 second quicker per lap. Nah, it's not too bad. Yeah, we're at 8:30 every lap, so pretty consistent, not bad at all. I'd be glad to do it 10 minutes here, to be honest. Go Fernandez then, still close up as well. Is Heilemann in the car now? Matthias Heilemann is together with his teammates as well, but Matthias actually has gone kind of unnoticed to me. He's together with Montepoli, with which we have seen in very long, and there indeed is the pause now, but MC's right up there too. A freeway battle going all the way. Don't mind if we do. The 8:30 is pretty impressive. Let's say if you're, let's see if your teammate's able to keep that up. And then we have, well, also I just need to tell my mom real quick that I'm indeed still working. Right, just sent her a text message on WhatsApp because she's already left the room. That's kind of hard, right? But, oh well, I was told I was going to do the entire thing, so I must do the entire thing. Shira then. You could stay up with Jake here, challenge him later on, that would be great. So back to Fernandez for vengeance. I hope we don't see a similar scenario here. This was actually the corner they went off at. We're all talking about planes, correct? Yes, we have a captain among us. Yes, that being Marco Keddy. Flies a Boeing 737, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And we were talking about this. Oh, what is this? Oof. Was that a touch? What has happened? That looked weird to me. I want to go see that one back. Replay loading in as we speak. What happened there? I was paying attention to the chat, which I sometimes should do, but sometimes also maybe not. Yeah, I was talking about me going on an Embraer plane for the first time in my life on Friday. I am going to be visiting Donington Park, the circuit, to see the British Touring Car Championship. What's actually happened then? Braking, all seemed good, and oof, there is the contact indeed. I kind of missed that. I'm lucky I work with those machines every day. Do you work at Schiphol Airport by any chance, or are you a pilot too? This is a battle for second place. Keep that in mind as well. This Dyer versus Angel, but they're kind of giving that up. Which one? I will check in my KLM app, actually. I'm flying with KLM. I believe it was a 195, but I think I can check that. Can I? Might be later. I don't want to log in now. What do I find here? It is a Embraer 195E2. I work on Schiphol, yes, that's cool. What do you do at Schiphol? I don't usually go to Schiphol very often. I don't fly very often. Oof, Nürburgring into the wall. That's not a great sign. Sorry to interrupt the story here. I'd love to talk to chat, but this is not what I want to see. Nürburgring Redemption now falling back as well. All the positions and these came back. All for nothing. Look at Schiphol, that's cool though. I'm going to be there on Friday, so prepare my planes well, or whatever you do. I'd rather arrive in the East Midlands safely. To be flying with KLM, but yeah, what do you do at Schiphol Airport then? Because there's quite a lot of them, of course, quite a lot of things you can do. But yeah, to see Tug go out like that, Tug Bademshi, all the way towards the end of the race is really tough. And if 30 minutes away from Donington Park, I hope to take my car there this year. That would be fun. Do you have like a special track day car, or do you just take your road car there? Or even a race car, who knows? E2 is really comfy. We're with Transavia, alright. Oh yeah, I've been hearing some yeah, not to blame you or anything, but I've been hearing some bad stories about them, with them cancelling flights and such. My grandparents are currently on a holiday somewhere in Spain. I don't know where in Spain, because Spain is really big and I'm bad at city names, but they're in Spain somewhere with Transavia. They were actually lucky that flight didn't get cancelled or whatever. The only thing that happened to them was that their flight was pushed, I believe, like half an hour earlier, their return flight, which is not too bad. It's manageable, I suppose. That's still a cool job, dude. A flight officer, basically is a turnaround coordinator. I manage all the stuff around the flight, baggage, passengers, weights and balance. That's an important job as well, right? So do you like load them in as well, or do you more like do overseeing and calculating to ensure that the plane's in balance and that kind of stuff, right? Because I can imagine if there's all the weight on one side of the plane, it's not a very pleasant experience to fly in. And I also have my questions if that's actually safe, of course. It's a cool job, I gotta say, though. I am not a huge plane guy. At least I'm not a plane nerd necessarily. But I do find it kind of cool to watch these like travel vlogs and that kind of stuff, right? As my mom always said, well, you're not plane autistic, you're car autistic, which is the harsh reality. My road cars have always had tracks and mods. I have a Honda Civic Type R at the moment. I used to have an M3, which I've also took around Donny. You know, I'm jealous because first of all, you've actually been to Donny, which is something that I've really been wanting to. Second of all, you've had an M3. I drive with my mom's Seat Ibiza, so I'm a little bit jealous of that. That thing might go forward if you press the throttle real hard. So yeah, it's pretty brilliant. Yeah, without me and my colleagues, you won't fly off. Without me and my colleagues, you won't take off on your holiday. You know, I always have so much respect for all the, you know, the staff that are working on these kind of big projects, right? To get people from 1 to B. And oof, what is that? That is Angel into the wall. I mean, I don't know why I said, what is that? I know exactly what has happened. That is not good to see. And that will also mean that Brogadar is able to keep going and up to second place again. But yeah, obviously, right, anything from bus drivers to people loading in planes, they always get so much shit sometimes. And I have so much respect for what they're doing, right? Like, I can't imagine how stressful your work is. And also, well, not necessarily maybe stressful in the sense that you've got a lot to do, but you have got a lot to worry about. Right? Like, people's lives are in your hands, which I could never deal with. And that's strong. Also, on a drive-through. That is tough. Where is he gone? He's actually into the pits now, but also has a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane, and he's gone. Oh, no. He's gone as well. Mass and balance is extremely important. Thank you. No, I'd rather not search that up, actually. I'd rather not search that up because I am, even though I know aviation, it's probably the safest way to travel, probably. I would probably not want to know everything that can go wrong. Even though I know that it's safe statistically and stuff, right? I am kind of, I'm not necessarily afraid of flying, but like, I like being in control. Now, I don't know how to fly a plane, so I know it's not an option. But, you know, for example, I also don't like being a passenger in a bus necessarily, or at a car. Right? The thing just is to me, is like I'm just always scared of not being in control. It's hard to get rid of, right? I always want to be backseating, which is a bad habit of mine, of course. Even though I know I'm not a very good driver. I've learned to drive like 2 years ago, a little bit more, but even then, you know, not that much experience. Where's this Knoppek for demolishing the competitions? 1 minute and 15 seconds. Do I need to say anything else? It's incredible he's done. It's on the gates, you don't die. Okay, beautiful. Then I might Google it. It's just a plane falling on its butt. Well, just make sure my plane doesn't do that, though. That would be very much appreciated here. And here's Glenn Chu also making his way past here. So definitely damage on the 296 here of Sun Angel. Tough to see this late into the race with 10 minutes remaining. Getting closer now. I actually wonder if the driver number 48 is able to make it into the new lap. Guess we're about to find out, of course. Before that timer kind of runs out. Now they're doing laps which are 8:17 roughly. It is Knoppek now with the fastest times as well to make things even worse for the competition. Yeah, Thomas Knoppek is just in a league of its own right now. And at this point it doesn't even surprise me anymore. But MC had a tough stint to say the least. Still P7 though is a result to happily take home. With just 17 drivers still going. I think it's safe to say that things are not looking too great out there for them. It's a harsh reality, right? And Heidemann actually is all the way back here now. Has lost a couple of positions. Well, it hasn't been updated. And we still went for the race instead of the DNF. Yeah, most definitely. And even then, right, it's just been an absolute pleasure, right? It's just so much fun to do these races with one of your mates. In the end, the result is like the thing that I would be least worried about. And obviously, I'm a very competitive person. Came from the world of competitive Counter-Strike. But in sim racing, I don't feel that kind of pressure yet. And obviously, I'm very in the moment, right? I'm very focused up. I get stressed out when there's drivers behind me. I'm pushing to my limits to catch up to the drivers ahead of me. But yeah, you know, even then, just finishing the race, right? You've done a race that's 2.4 hours with your mate. You've had a lot of on the process. A lot of things have happened. It's been an exciting race for everybody, basically. Which is good to see. I'm actually giving some extra screen time to your mate as well. So you can enjoy him on the stream as well as in-game. Yeah, it will be a fun thing to do as well for you. Bummer, a lot of people quit. Yes. Now, it's tough, right? Because if you have to drive 10 or 15 kilometers back to the pits with significant damage, it's going to cost you so much time that I understand it. But the downside is, right, the less drivers you've got on the server, the less exciting the racing will be as well. So, right, the more people that stay in it, the more exciting it will be, right? Kind of look at how 40 drivers are split apart as well. And these two are within 5 seconds. The rest are within 15 plus. It's never a good sign really for close racing. It basically turns into a big qualifying session at some point. I'm happy with the results. This track is a no-go for me. Yeah, maybe you've been traumatized all the way. Scared to kind of continue. And honestly, I understand that. It is just really tough out there sometimes. But yeah, I must say for me it's been an absolute pleasure. As well, doing these sim racing calls is something that I enjoy doing so much. Can't wait to actually get out there on the track and do the IRL as well. Just a big qualifying session it is, though, that I'm basically commentating. It's a Dutch Time Attack Challenge, which you could see yourself at Japfest if you're happening to go there. Zolder, I'm close to the world record. That is insane, to be honest. Zolder's a track that's definitely on my list as well, in terms of visiting it one day. I hope we get the opportunity to do it. I kind of wanted to go to the 24 hours of Zolder. Perhaps you see the Supercar Challenge there as well, because I saw them at Zandvoort. Loads of fun. Keep in mind as well, I live in Assen, so for me Zandvoort's still like 3 hours away basically by public transit. It was just so much fun. I kind of wish I could go more often, to be fair, but it cost me like 60 euros to get back and forth, so... Lost the time as well. You have to get up real early. I actually had to go there to the station at the time where the buses didn't even go there yet, so I had to bike my way through the train station because I don't own a car. Wish I did, but yeah. So maybe I'll be closer in the next race. What race is the next race you're going to be attending? I'm not sure, but no matter what it might be, I hope you do well because it was a lot of fun seeing you race. Here is Sun Angel now finally made his way into the pits now. Luckily, Cow Jr. is quite far away. Don't think he's going to be able to bridge that gap over, but he's approaching rapidly. One thing that I noticed as well, the deltas are just off completely on this map. I've driven Spa, Ulton, Catwalk Park, Donington, and Blyton Park. Okay, so Spa, brilliant circuit. Ulton Park, one of my favorites as well. Catwalk, excuse me. Catwalk Park, I did a race there in MX5s on the LFM website. So much fun. Kind of small, super tight, but was a lot of fun in MX5s. Donington is my favorite, one of my favorite as well. Then Blyton Park. Blyton Park is like a smaller track designed for track days, right? I'm pretty sure I saw this in the SimQuips video, actually. I could be mistaken. When I did a vlog and they did a track day in a Chrysler PT Cruiser. Good fun though, you have to admit it. I watched the trucks and Snetterton and Brands Hatch as well. I really want to go to Brands Hatch one day. Sounds like a blast, but the car rental in the UK is just such a mess for me right now. Because I'm only 21, so it's becoming expensive. Quite a shame, but oh well, it is what it is sometimes. Now, there's a couple tracks on the list, right? Ranging from Spa and Zolder to Nürburgring, as well as Brands Hatch. And there's one smaller track as well, which I've always wanted to visit. Autodrome Most in Czechia. Had an opportunity to go there, but decided that I wanted to go to Jack's Racing Day, which is a which is a event that I might also be commentating on, but I can't guarantee that yet. That was great, especially the chicane part uphill. Yeah, no, I have my questions about safety, but I must say that it is at least making for some entertaining race, right? But I think it's also designed for motorbikes more than anything, so it makes sense, right? Now this is a battle going all the way. Actually, interestingly enough, for on-track position this late now. But MC then going down the... Oh, actually down the inside I wanted to say, but it was around the outside. Good try, but unfortunately not making it work just yet. The gap is so marginal at this point. Mountain and Catwall. If you're in a red car, you have to lift to the top. Otherwise, it breaks traction and tries to kill you. You know, I figured it's kind of deadly. I didn't go into the wall there, but I've seen plenty of other drivers do it. Because I drive kind of safely. Here's the move then down the inside. Nicely done by Tucker Badem. She makes his way around. To the top 5 he goes. Finally redemption here for Tucker Bademshi. Awesome day. It's called a mini Nürburgring for a reason, isn't it? Very tight. No offs. No runoffs. There's a lot of grass in the earlier sections, like the first 2 sections, right? Even then, I wouldn't be wanting to slide there. Scared that my car will tip over. It's an awesome place, though. Yeah. Yeah, red car. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what you meant by that. I thought you meant like a Ferrari or something, but no. Rear-wheel drive makes a lot more sense, of course, in the context. Yeah, things make sense now. Yeah, I would love to do a track day someday, but unfortunately, I'm kind of poor. Here we see Paulie then. Has he just quit the server? Wait, he's gone for me. Is Paulie gone? No way. No, not like this, right? Surely not. Where's the Heinemann getting into the car again? I don't see him at all. Please don't tell me they're quitting with 2 minutes on the clock. I'm trying to see if I can find him. But I don't see him anymore and it has me worried. No, please don't tell me this is happening. That would be such a shame. Yeah, so little drivers actually still going. Quite a shame, but it makes sense. He'll come and make his way onto the north side one more time. Now, Thomas Knoppek is now approaching the last couple corners here. But he's going to be making his way through the start finish, which means we are soon going to kick off with his final lap of the race here.
Leaders on final lap now.
The announcer will do the work for me. Maxime Cochera here still fighting for that top 5. It could happen at any point. Race almost over for quite a few drivers already. Gonna all come down to the final couple corners for a couple of them. Just keeping things nice and tidy now is the plan, of course. Seem just slightly too far away now. It is catching up as it looks like right now. I'd be there if there was a mid-session rejoin. Yeah. Is that not an option in Assetto Corsa Competizione? I'm actually not too familiar with the rules. So if you just crash, you're just out. It's sort of like PC crash or whatever, or forced alt tap or whatever, and you can't recover, whatever it might be. Game crash. Could be anything, but is it just game over then? That's such a shame, to be honest. Making their way to the large carousel for most likely the last time here. It's a fight for the top 5 that could go all the way still. Couple of drivers on the straight, but who's going to actually be the first driver to finish here? That time's running out, obviously. It might just be Brogan Dyer. Don't think he can get there in the given time. Katie Boo Boo, welcome back. Marco, hope you have enjoyed your stay in the meanwhile. Don't know if you were lurking or just doing something else. But the time is officially up. So seeing Brogan Dyer make his way back in. Normally on team events, we can rejoin. Katie Boo Boo with the settings. Oh, right. Well, that explains it. What a race. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be Brogan Dyer then. I keep trying to say Dryer. Actually make his way across there. Obviously, Knoppek's yet to come around, so therefore he's allowed to go another lap. I was almost forgetting about that one. I just see another driver disconnecting. No, come on. Is this happening, lads? It shouldn't be. Come on, you're this close. Just don't give up on me now. I'm going to try and keep it entertaining, but with half the grid gone now, it's definitely becoming a little bit more complicated, that's for sure. Luckily, I've got you guys to talk to, which is always an absolute pleasure. Always a lot of fun to be on the mic here for Formula Racing League, of course. But yeah, Keddy, shame on you, my friend. I know you as an absolute professional, but this time you're letting me down. I hope you treat the settings of your Boeing 737 a little bit more serious than you do the server settings here. Nah, just joking around, of course. Fully disconnected, yeah, but why? Come on, lads, not like this. That's not what you want to see at all, right? Such a shame to see it end that way. Disconnect in the last couple minutes. I don't even know why you would do that. Team is going to make it close in fuel. Oof. Well, I mean, he could save up. He's not really in the danger zone for any position as for now. You can honestly just drive all the way with upshifting at 5,000 RPM. Wasn't faster enough. Yeah, that makes sense. I know my HR out there. What do you mean by HR exactly? Maybe I'm stupid again. I mean, surprise, surprise, I suppose. But hour out there, I think you mean, right? Yeah, no, I'm slow tonight, okay? Sometimes when you do sim racing broadcast, you get to the end and your brain's just fried, right? And that's kind of what I'm experiencing right now. Knowing that my bedtime has passed a lot. There's big damage, pitted, driver swap and disconnect. Oh no, not like that. So the Angel's still going despite dropping down to P7 in the end, thanks to the damage. Very much appreciated though, you have to admit it. Near another battle for position, believe it or not. Nick Parks as well as Botond right ahead. So the Hungarian in the Audi R8 versus the BMW M4 GT3 of Nick Parks. It's hour. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit slow. Okay. But sometimes when you just do these events, your brain's just fried up. There's just nothing you can do really. It just happens, right? You have so much stuff to pay attention to the entire way. And then sometimes it just disappears. But it happens, I suppose. Now, the upside is I've done worse. I remember doing a 5-hour event. That was in Amigos Racing League. I believe I did the first hour and then I had 2 hours of a break, but I was the one streaming it because we were kind of limited on options here, so I had to put an auto cam. And then I went to recharge for 2 hours, but also was on standby the entire way for technical issues. And then I had to finish it off in the last 2 hours. It was tough out there, but that was a lot of fun as well. It was the Silverstone 500 in Amigos Racing League. And actually, lads, I had a question here that I didn't get answered yet because I actually never asked it before. I had it in my head, just never came around. And I was wondering about, do we have an invite to host a qualifier thing for the SRO event? I assume we do, right? We're a big community. It's a long race on a Wednesday, for sure. And to make it even worse, I normally would have been asleep for 2 hours by now. But I'm still here, still going strong. Trying to keep down the volume as well, because I know for sure that my entire family is asleep already. And I don't want to wake them up. I don't want to disturb them with my stupid hobbies that I have. This being one of them, of course. Yeah, but not many are interested. Oh, that's a shame, to be honest. Why is that? Because I remember in some other communities that I'm in, there was a lot of hype around it, but... Now, how are you guys going to be doing? Like, are you just going to be sending people in, or are you going to be hosting an event to, you know, make people qualify? What's the plan? People want Ginettas. I want Ginettas. Why don't we have Ginettas? That's a good question to ask. I love the Ginettas so much. They've just always hit different for me. There's actually a... I was looking at track day cars on the Dutch marketplace, and oof, Nick Parks with a big shunt. Is he able to keep the car slowing down? Yes, he is at least, but damage definitely significant. As I was saying, I was looking around on the marketplace, which is basically like Dutch eBay, looking at track day cars, and I saw that somebody imported one of the Ginetta Junior Cups, Junior Cup cars, fresh out of the UK. It's only like, I believe it was 16k or 17k euros. And, well, if I had the money right now, I would have probably have a look at it, because that would be a lot of fun to drive around. Here's the money, Ginetta, absolutely. If I still had energy to scream, I would love to. But my throat is gone. My water is empty. But there's just so little time left that I don't want to stand up and get more water. Plus, I'd rather not pee myself at night. That's something I have to worry about now too. My alarm goes at 6 in the morning. And that doesn't help with it whatsoever. Every driver ahead of Thomas Knoppik just starting their last lap. Now everybody behind should be finished afterwards. But he's not going to make it. No, you're kidding. Can you come into the pits then? Oh, if it ends like this in a hard break. How much fuel does he have left? Going so slowly, he should have come into the pits. He has to do another lap. How much fuel has he got? Map 8. Is that what we call fuel saving mode? Oh no, not like this. Oh, this is tough. What out there? There's been an incident as well involving Papaton. Let's have a look at that one. Oof, that is a curb as well as some grass. For the line. Yeah, he should have braked. That was a good opportunity. Shouldn't he have just pitted though? Couldn't he have just pitted for fuel? Now it's Peter Verlies coming in as well. I think he might have the same issue. Now the race is officially finished. He might just finish up into the pit lane actually. As Thomas Knoppek's crossed the line. Well, I didn't even pay attention to it, to be honest. It's so well deserved. This man has just been so mighty rapid around here tonight. Come on, let's see some donuts, mate. We're waiting for it. Yes, there they are. Well deserved to Thomas Knoppek here. He's finishing basically wet in the nose because he was just so far ahead of everybody else. There was a torch who got to wait at the line. Yeah, it's a shame. Here is Dyer actually getting closer up to Chiu here, so maybe there's an attack possible if Dyer is running out of fuel or something along those lines, but assuming that he doesn't, he should just be fine now, making his way over to the long straight for the last time round. Dominant, great win by Thomas Knoppek indeed. I've got no other words for it. I didn't even notice he crossed the line that quickly. I was thinking about something else, looking at the other drivers. Yeah, That's just what happens when you drive in no man's land the entirety of the race, but it's so well deserved. We're gonna die. Not like this. Not like this, surely. Been a pleasure, Mr. Combs. See you next time. Right, see you around. Don't know what event I'm doing next. I actually haven't been invited to any. But I hope I get the opportunity to. It would be a lot of fun. Slow lap. Yeah, that will be a very slow lap here. Energy saving mode, leaning into the corners without using any energy. Maybe you could get somebody to push you, that would be nice. But yeah, Brogan Dyer to finish in second position. And there's a car sideways. What has happened there then? I'm not sure, that looked not as good. It will be Glenchiu to finish up in third position. Together with actually nobody's done it alone as well. Pretty impressive stuff. Top 3 all solo drivers then. Mico Fernandez will be finishing top 4. Now he obviously does have a teammate, that being Matthijs van Amelrooy. He's going to be finishing, making his way across the line soon in P4. Good showing from the Dutch team as well here. Very well done by the Tulip Racing squad to make it across the line soon. During the last couple turns. Takes so long though. Yeah, at some point I think the service is going to shut down, huh? Thank you for the Ricky. Safe travels. Send us some pictures in the Discord. Will do, mate. Will do. Fernandez to finish in P5. P4 it is. Tukur Bademshi in P4 still. A couple drivers ahead of him, actually. Like Papaton there. Still on lap 16. The winning driver was on lap 18. So he slapped the drivers twice on the Nordschleife. Impressive stuff. Actually, the driver's 35, which is ahead of everybody else. I mean, Nick Parks will be the next one to finish here. Up in P11. Quite a big gap towards the rest of the drivers, though. That tends to happen, of course. But yeah, 3.5 hours worth of streaming is basically what we're getting here. It's lots of fun, and I can't wait to head back onto the server here for Formula Racing League as well. Nick Parks just taking a little bit of grass as well, just for good measure. Just cutting the grass like Valtteri Bottas did at a certain race that you guys might remember. Was it the Hungaroring? It might have been. Could be a mistake. Could, of course. But yeah, once again, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure. Downside is my throat is fucked, but it was all worth it. My family stream, of course. My throat is not doing very well. There you go. Just know where you're going. What a joke. I mean, we've got a couple drivers finishing, but I'll jump over afterwards. P11, now we have Papatont in P12. So tell a couple to stay in there as we wait for the Hungarian driver to also cross the line here. Good job with that. And how quick are you guys going still? It is a nice little Sunday drive here for Giel Kappen. Admiring the scenery. Enjoy the view. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. Oh, this hurts. 6th position. Of 6th gear, I mean. Sightseeing the entire way through. The only upside is you won't really have to, well, brake much. And if you do, it's going to be lifting most of the time. As the other drivers are about to come in here as well. We should do ATV view here, but it's going to be Bademshi to finish P5. And then Son Angel right behind him. You see Kosheri crossing the line as well. Waiting for Craig Hill to come around, but he's still quite far gone. Yeah, let's enjoy some sightseeing here, okay? I think we might as well. So welcome aboard Giel Kappen Tours. Now starting off from Schiphol Airport all the way through the Nordschleife. And we are just enjoying our scenery here for a little bit. Making our way through. So we were surely through Exmoude. It's gonna take a while, but we will be coming there. This also means the stream is gonna go on to midnight, won't it? I'm afraid it will be. That's tough. Tell me some sightseeing. Well, he's making his way through. Next up is going to be Bergwerk, but it takes quite a while till we get there. So in the meanwhile, I will be your tour guide here as well. So the driver we are currently aboard with is Giel Kappen. Just doing its thing. Just making sure that everybody's enjoying the views out there. Should we do this nature documentary style? We might as well. So let's tell you some fun fact about the legendary Nürburgring racetrack. Right. It has a roller coaster, first of all. Not many tracks have this. Suzuka has one next door, Mobility Land. Yes, Marina has as well. Obviously, Ferrari World being the fastest one as well in the world, I believe. And Hungaroring occasionally has a Soviet era one near the circuit as well, apparently. But no one has one running alongside the pit straight. Not even the Nürburgring, but it did once, apparently. Back in the early 2000s, circuit's owners decided to create a vast 250 million euro motorsport-themed tourist attraction. With the ring as the centerpiece, is run by hotels, apartments, a shopping mall, a theme park, and the world's quickest roller coaster. It never came off the. It did come off the ground, but and so over a budget that people went to jail. Apparently, Craig Hill finishing up here, nicely done. Matt Howick is still very far away, so we shall head over to Hill Kappen again. So yeah, it's actually also a toll road, open to the public. Lap cost 23 euros. At least that was in 2010. It's a little bit more now. That happens. Oof, but I think support's on this way, lads. Now, I don't want to be celebrating too soon. But I see the Peter Lieshout's out there. Come on, please push him. It doesn't matter for the position. You might as well. Right? I mean, it's yellow flags all the way, of course. But that doesn't matter. Here they are. Please slow down, Peter. No, he's not doing it, is he? Met host then to finish in P9. If you look left, you see some mountain as well. And you've got trees on both the left side and the right side. This is a McLaren. It's a natural habitat. Switch to your Morgan Freeman voice. My voice doesn't even work anymore. And you're out here asking such difficult questions. You're nicely done by Matt House to make it his way across. Peter van Lieshout will just be making his way through the finish here. Ignition Racing Group Tours. Starting off at a cost of 170 euros. That will include a trip from the hotel back to the hotel, as well as a slow lap in a McLaren, driven by one of your special tour guides, that being Giel Kappen, or his teammate in the race normally, Milan Lehmann. After all, risking it. Go in reverse. No, that's please not. This is still a serious server, of course. Now, in the meanwhile, I will tell you some more facts about it here. So we've just made our way through the big carousel, is what it's called. You notice that it indeed is quite banked and, well, okay, Lieshout doesn't get to finish his lap even. And neither does Kappen. Why do you guys ruin all the fun all the time? Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, let me have some final words about this one. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been so much fun. I want to thank you guys all so much for joining me in today for this 2.4 hour during adventure. It's been an absolute pleasure. My name is Ricky from RDC Broadcasting, and you can find me over on Twitter, or X as it's called nowadays, which is going to be at RDC Broadcasting. And then I've also got a Twitch account, which is RickyDC, the I being A1, so make sure to give me a follow onto there as well. I mainly stream Counter-Strike related content. But ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you to all the racers for providing us with such a entertaining race, because that's most definitely what it has been. Green lights once again, but we're not doing another one tonight. That would be too much to ask for, I'm afraid. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got basically no final words left, so while we enjoy the pink letters for one more time, as everybody leaves the server, when I send you guys off, I will see you guys later on. And enjoy the rest of your night, or whatever time it might be, over in your local time zone. And I will for sure be back, but when it will be, I've got no clue. First, I've got BTCC at Donington Park coming up. If you're there, let me know, hit me up, and I'll see you guys later.